The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
What can the Jets coaching staff do over the final 7 games to prove they belong going forward? We'll talk about that and much more when Badlands founder Joe Caporoso joins us. It's the Jake Asman Show. Start of a new week. Let's hit it and get it started.
There's a number of things that I think about every morning that get me excited about being a part of this job. And plus, I just love what the hell I do.
The 2025 New York Jets season is officially here. Can Aaron Glenn lead the team back to the playoffs and finally deliver on the promise this roster has shown? Every step of the journey, the Jake Asman Show will have you covered, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Hopefully you had a great weekend. You didn't have to worry about the Jets playing yesterday. Got to sit back, watch all the other games. But now the Jets are back in action. Later this week, Sunday, they'll take on the Ravens. 7 games to go. And for more on that and where things stand, we say hello to the founder of Badlands. He's a good friend of the show, the great Joe Caporoso joins us now. Joe, happy Monday. Jets, of course, played this past Thursday, so we got a weekend free of the Jets. So did you sit back and enjoy watching some of the other games around the league?
I enjoyed some red zone, a low-stress Sunday, which is always nice. And now we just got the straight 7 games, 1 p.m., no weird kickoff times, no more night games, which I think after the last few seasons we appreciate. Just give me the 1 p.m. Sunday kickoffs, and let's work through these final 2 months and see where this draft pick lands and see where they land in the standings.
Totally agree. And look, I'll start actually with a positive just from watching the games yesterday, specifically the Ravens game. Myles Garrett just destroying the Baltimore Ravens offensive line. Makes me feel even better than I already did about Armand Membu and Olu Fashanu going forward.
I think the Jets have a good young offensive line and something to really be excited about and build around between Membu, between Olu, between Tippmann, and however they want to sort out the other 2 spots going forward. I think they have multiple options, whether that's bringing Myers back, whether that's bringing ABT back, whether that's bringing Simpson back. They certainly have enough draft capital now to, use a pick at that position on day 2 or day 3. But Membu in particular, you couldn't have asked for a better rookie year so far. He's playing really around a Pro Bowl level as a rookie, a 21-year-old rookie at that. And Olu, I think, has stabilized a lot. I think there was some, rough patches early in the season, but it's a guy who's only started like 17, 18 games, I think, at this point. So he's really still a rookie in many ways, and I think he's gotten better as well. And that's going to be one of the key things to continue to watch down the stretch, because that is really the foundation of the team right now.
Totally agree. Now, as far as the state of this team, right? So Aaron Glenn, when he last spoke on Friday, he basically, for the first time, really left it open for a quarterback change. When asked about it, he wasn't, defiant. He wasn't contentious. He didn't question the validity of the question. He talked about evaluating everything. So a lot of people think a quarterback change could be looming. Glenn, I don't think we'll speak with reporters till Wednesday this week, Joe, so we might not officially know till then. But where do you stand with the Fields-Tyrod discussion? Do you think Tyrod Taylor will be the one starting against the Ravens?
Well, guessing with how this year has went, I don't think we'll officially know until Saturday night or Sunday morning who the starting quarterback will be. I would say it's a coin flip right now. I'm leaning towards it likely being Tyrod. I think he doesn't leave the door open if he wasn't seriously considering a change. I also think if Tyrod's leg was healthy, he starts versus the Bengals. I think that's the only reason Fields started that game. And my guess is that he's been 60, 70% behind the scenes. And now after this mini bye week, did that give him enough time to be healthy enough to start? My guess is yes. I think it's reasonable with how Fields has played the last 2 weeks to say, look, like, this doesn't have to be for the remainder of the season, but we just got to sit you down for a few weeks so you can get your head together and just kind of have a little soft reset. And look, it's not like Tyrod's been great in his action this year. He's been, very average, and, he's turned the ball over a few times. But you just got to try something different at this point. You can't go on with 20 yards of passing at halftime every single week. So As of today, I do think they will give Tyrod a few starts. I think they see how it plays out. It's more likely than not, sadly, that, after 2 or 3 games, he'll get knocked out in some shape or form. He has a hard time staying healthy. At that point, then, do you go back to Fields? Do you see a Brady Cook start or 2? You'll probably see all 3 quarterbacks again before the season ends, which is very common for many Jet seasons.
It's unfortunate, but I just think that's kind of where we're at. And look, for me, the reason why I would like to see Tyrod is not that I just think, oh, he's so much better than Justin Fields, right? But I just think at this point, we're in evaluation mode, right? Glenn said they're evaluating everything. Well, that includes who's going to be here in 2026. Like, do we have any viable pass catching options that we feel good about besides Garrett? Like, I want to see more from Mechie. I want to see more from Mitchell. I'd like Mason Taylor to continue to get a ton of targets his way and watch him continue to develop. I think you get a better idea on the offensive line even when Tyrod is your quarterback and you run a more conventional drop back pro style passing offense. So for all those reasons beyond, I just think Fields maybe mentally could be cooked at this point. I would like to see Tyrod Taylor play till he gets hurt and then, get Brady Cook ready for a start or 2 at the end. Like you referenced it, like that's probably where this is headed at some point.
It wouldn't be a Jet season if at least 3 or 4 quarterbacks didn't take a snap at some point. And I agree on the pass catching point of it, right? You want to see, particularly with Mitchell and Mechie, can they be a big part of the equation next year? You'll have a better chance of evaluating that properly with Tyrod under center in a more traditional passing offense. I just at a certain point, you got to try something for the sake of the rest of the locker room as well. I think guys, they like Fields. They're not going to throw him, under the bus, but everyone watches the same film. Everyone sees how out of step it is with the rest of the league to, he's pacing towards historically low passing yardage numbers for the volume of starts that he's had. And the running's been okay, but it's not been enough of an X factor to cancel that out. And I don't think anyone in that locker room or anyone around the organization would think it's out of step not to try something different at quarterback over the next few weeks, just to see what it looks like and see if it adds a little more juice to the passing offense. And look, Mitchell, Mechie, Arian Smith, these guys are going to play a ton. I don't think Garrett Wilson plays again the rest of the season, nor do I think he should. There's no reason to push it if you're going to be 3-10 when he comes back or whatever it's going to be. So it's probably time. And I don't really know if Tyrod, Fields, or Cook are going to be on the roster next year. But again, I do think in some shape or form, we'll see all 3 of them play again over these final 7.
I think that's well said. We're presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. They are the go-to book when you're wagering on the Jets. Joe, I don't know if you've seen the spread already for Sunday. 14.5 points, more than a touchdown, the largest spread that the Jets will face this year. Look, the Ravens, it's not like they were that impressive against the Cleveland Browns yesterday. They narrowly won that game. Maybe if Dylan Gabriel didn't get hurt, they do win with how poor Shedeur Sanders played when he came in. But man, like this to me, we're about to talk about what we want to see from the coaching staff. Obviously, I'm not asking you to win in Baltimore, but can you show some fight like the Browns just did? Like that to me is what I would like to see in this game in particular. I mean, 14.5 is a monstrous spread in the NFL.
14.5 feels a little high. And I think, look, they were competitive against the Patriots. They were winning in the first quarter. It was a 1-possession game going into the fourth quarter. I would think the Jets could cover this line, particularly because the Ravens have been pretty bad this year, right? They look pretty bad against the Browns. They're 4-6 for a reason. They're banged up. Lamar does not look right. Baltimore is a very difficult place to play. It's certainly not a great matchup for the Jets with how they play offense, but their defense has struggled this year. And do I think the Jets are going to win this game? No. Do I think they could keep it under 14.5? Probably. With how they've played the last 5 or 6 games, they've won 2 games. They lost a 1-possession game to Denver and Carolina, both of whom have proven to be pretty good teams, particularly Denver. And they were in that New England game, all things considered, on a short week, especially with some of the roster limitations that they have. So I don't think it's going to be particularly pretty games. The Ravens are not very good either. 14.5, I am curious, particularly if the Jets make a quarterback switch, if that line gets more to like 12 or something, where it was around the New England game.
So how about that, people? If you want value, we're going to say maybe you get the bet in early and take some points with the New York Jets here. Pretty crazy. Joe, as far as this coaching staff now, let's talk about these next 7 games, right? Beyond just even the Ravens game. What do you want to see over the last final games from this coaching staff? It feels like Glenn's going to be here no matter what, but I don't know if we could accurately say that about this coaching staff, particularly the defensive coordinator and maybe even some staff members on offense if they're going to try and reshape things to get set for potentially having a rookie start most of the games next year. So your thoughts on just what you would personally like to see to feel a lot better about this coaching staff?
Look, I want to see them continue to be better with their game management week over week. I think that's gotten better over the last 5 games. I want them to be aggressive and be smart with when they're being aggressive. You want to see the penalties go back to trending downward. They had a nice stretch where penalties were really not a problem the last couple of weeks. That's flared up a little bit. You want to see that cleaned up. And you want to see the team be competitive. Even if you don't want to see them win games because you're worried about draft position, you don't want to be embarrassed out there. They were embarrassed earlier in the year against Dallas, to an extent against Miami. They should be competitive in their games the rest of the way. And I know it will drive Jet fans crazy, but they're probably going to win another game or two at some point, right? Just like they beat the Bengals and the Browns. And, for this coaching staff, they're probably thinking internally like, hey, yeah, we started 0-7, but can we finish 5-5? And can we have our 5 losses be in one possession games and really show that despite this roster being as weakened as it is, no Sauce Gardner, no Quinnen Williams, no Garrett Wilson, that we're still hanging around and throwing punches the rest of the way. And if they get a more stability at the quarterback position, can they have some level of consistency on offense where they're scoring 2 or 3 touchdowns every week? And last but not least, force some turnovers. I know it's not directly in the coach's hands, but you are racing towards history here with no interceptions through 10 games, only 1 turnover forced through 10 games. Can you right that wrong in the final 7? Can you have a game where you intercept a couple passes, score a defensive touchdown, get a strip sack, continue the strong play on special teams? I think you'll know it when you see it. And the Jets have been a normal bad team the last 5 games, I think, after being embarrassing the first 5 games. Can you continue on that trajectory? Because the reality is when they get through this Baltimore game where the spread is, comically big, home against Atlanta, home against Miami, those kind of teams playing outside at this time of the year, those are going to be close, winnable games that the Jets are very likely to be in. You still have a game against the Saints. The Jaguars are a very Jekyll and Hyde team before you close with the 2 AFC East teams. So I think there'll be a good amount of close games down the stretch for the Jets. And how does the coaching staff handle those situations?
How is it possible that a team with a defensive head coach, a coach, by the way, who as a player was phenomenal at forcing turnovers, intercepting passes, having an experienced defensive coordinator, how is it possible that this is a team that through 10 games does not have an interception and only has 1 turnover, Joe? Like that to me, in a year that has been painful as a Jet fan, that stat to me just kind of highlights like the fundamental issue this team has, that a defensive-minded staff has no turnovers for a defense that had 8 of its 11 starters returning year over year.
It's a shocking thing to watch. They had one last week, and Tony Adams decided to hit his own teammate and break that pass up. Brownlee dropped one the week before. Sauce dropped one early in the season. It's just an organizational thing. And look, they struggled last year forcing turnovers. This is a whole different level to the point where it's almost like you have to be trying to not have turnovers because you just fall into them usually in the NFL. It's something that, man, over the final 7, can you string together like 6 or 7 turnovers and be more of a normal team there? They stabilize special teams. That's fine. The offensive line is playing well. The running game and Breece Hall is playing better. But this piece on the defense, man, particularly for guys who are going to be pieces going forward, Stevens, Azaria Thomas when he comes back, Brownlee, Malachi Moore, you want these guys to get involved and get in the habit of forcing fumbles, falling on fumbles, catching interceptions when they're thrown to them. And look, they're going to play probably Kirk Cousins outside in MetLife in November. He's going to throw you a couple. Catch the football. Even Lamar's been turning the football over when he's running around. So I do hope to see that trend. You don't want to finish the season with setting a record for the least turnovers forced and being the only team in NFL history to never have an interception in an entire season.
Is Steve Wilks going to survive this when it's all said and done?
I hope not. It's going to be an interesting early test for Aaron Glenn, how stubborn he is. I mean, unless the Jets have this like radical turnaround on defense the final 7 games, I don't see any logical way you can keep him as a defensive coordinator. Now, could you demote him and keep him as a senior defensive assistant? Maybe he was predominantly brought here because he had head coaching experience and they wanted someone at that seniority level. That's fine. You need a new person calling the plays next year. You need a new scheme that can keep up with today's offenses. You need a new voice in the room. And I don't know if that's, Jim Leonard's, of course, a very popular name. If Raheem Morris gets fired from the Falcons, is that a name? Jonathan Gannon, if he gets fired, could that be a name? Will mentioned Shea Townsend, who's a coach on the Lions staff who has some familiarity with Glenn. You got to get another voice in. And I hope Glenn is not stubborn about that, particularly if they finish this season, 27th on defense, last in the league in forced turnovers. It's okay to make a change, and he saw that firsthand in Detroit, right? Dan Campbell's first coordinator on offense wasn't Ben Johnson. He got rid of Anthony Lynn after 1 year. He kept the rest of his staff, and it's worked out pretty well for them since. That is the one, you're going to go, let's say they go 4-13 this year. You need to make at least one meaningful change to your staff, and that would seem to be it, because Banjo and Engstrom, I think, have been pretty good, and I wouldn't mess with either of those.
You mentioned Engstrand. That, to me, is another reason why hopefully we see Tyrod, we see, what this passing attack can do, because if you want to be positive about Tanner Engstrand, you go back and watch these games, there are guys open. Like, he is scheming guys open, and he doesn't exactly have the best supporting cast to do so. And the opening script that we saw in that game Thursday night was a phenomenal opening script, and it ended with a touchdown. But they've had good opening drives this year where, maybe a fumble by Braylon Allen killed one, or we've seen the Jets kind of just basically ruin it late with a bad penalty or something dumb happening that prevents them from scoring a touchdown, but they get points. Like, to me, Engstrand has not been great, but I don't think he's been awful. I would like to see more from him, hopefully, over these next 7 games as we're talking about what we want to see from the coaching staff.
Yeah, I think there's definitely potential there. This is a first-time play caller dealing with an offense with no Garrett Wilson. I mean, short week, they're playing effectively the best team in football on the road. His starting 3 receivers were not on the team in September. Mechie, Mitchell, and Isaiah Williams is functioning as the 3rd receiver right now. Mm-hmm. He's dealing with Fields at quarterback, and they're still moving the ball. And Mitchell dropped 2 plays that should have been big plays, including one that probably should have been a touchdown. Fields is just missing open guys. So I think Engstrand is the least of the Jets' problems, and I want to see him with a more conventional quarterback and a more conventional offensive setup, and you want to see him continue to progress in these final 7 games and build on some of the positive signs that they showed against the Patriots, where, again, like they found a way to be competitive in that game despite a huge talent discrepancy. That talent discrepancy they won't see the rest of the way until the end of the season when they play Buffalo and New England again. It won't be as severe even in this Baltimore game, even though that spread is 14.5. So let's see if they can continue to be competitive.
If you're watching live right now, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're talking with Joe Caporoso, who is the founder of Badlands, a longtime friend of the show. It's a new week, which means here's our raffle prize for the end of the show today. A Broadway Joe Namath jersey. You want it in green, you want it in white. That's an option for you. Or Joe Klecko jersey, Curtis Martin jersey, Wayne Corbett jersey, Darrelle Revis jersey, and the late, great Nick Mangold. Those are the options. Make sure you gift a membership to the community to qualify, or send in a $10 super chat or higher if you don't win. That's right. Tomorrow on the show, it's Raffle Tuesday. Signed Revis helmet is the weekly prize, the best one. Signed LaDainian Tomlinson Jets jersey. And last but certainly not least, a signed CJ Mosley helmet. So enter for the jersey in this show. But if you don't win, you're automatically entered for the weekly prizes. Joe, when you look at Aaron Glenn, from where we were when he was first hired, and I remember both you and Connor were very excited about the hires, to where we are now, what is still your level of confidence that despite how rough this year has been to this point, he is still a guy that long-term you could picture being here when the Jets end this playoff drought and actually have some success? Has your confidence at all wavered based on what you have seen 10 games into his tenure?
I mean, a little bit. I don't think it's been as good as I would have liked it to see through 10 games. This team probably should be 4-6 right now, not 2-8. And I think they left a couple wins on the table against Denver and Pittsburgh that there's certain things I would directly attribute to the coaching staff. Now, there has been incremental progress. I want to see how the final 7 look compared to the first 10. And it looked hopeless for a little bit. It doesn't look that way anymore. And I think it's hard to win in the NFL. And everyone was kind of like, oh, they beat the Browns, like whatever. Like, the Browns beat the Packers. The Browns were right there with the Ravens. Like, there are no give-me games in the NFL, and the Jets found a way to win 2. Let's see how they compete in these remaining 7. I think there's plenty of questions still about him. I want to see how he handles his staff in the offseason. I want to see how he handles quarterback the rest of the way. I want to see how competitive this team is the rest of the way after trading away Quinnen and Sauce. And it seems like the locker room is on message with him, and he still has that team behind him. It's very incomplete right now. And I think it's been very up and down through 10, but there has been some silver linings in recent weeks, which through the first 5-6 weeks, there really wasn't.
Jesus Jerry with a super chat here. He says, Joe, are Jets fans justified with their dissatisfaction with AG? How do you keep things from imploding in the room with such combustible QB play?
It's a real challenge for Glenn. It's why I think he has to consider a quarterback change, right? You have to keep credibility with your locker room because the locker room doesn't care about tanking. They have to put this tape out there. They all have futures in the NFL. They want to win games. You see how the team reacts when they win games, and you have to be honest with them and say, I'm doing everything I can to give us the best chance to win. And I think if you asked every guy in that locker room to a man who the best quarterback on the team is, they would say Tyrod. Now, again, Tyrod's flawed. He's got some arm issues. He didn't play great against Carolina. But you give him the full week of practice as a starter. You try it. If it doesn't work, you tried it. So I think he does need to show his ability to make that change. I really do think they were in the process of making the change, and his leg gave out because he's old and he can't stay healthy. Let's see if his leg is healthy now or not.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I think, something that Glenn can do right away, and you referenced it, is like make the change at quarterback and show that you have a real feel for what your team needs right now. I think you could argue that with 23 passing yards at halftime in the game on Thursday, a change to Tyrod would have been justified. And look, maybe Tyrod's more banged up than they're saying, but he's not on the injury report, and he was not even there for the Bengals game because he was so banged up. So Brady Cook was the backup that day. Since then, Tyrod has been the backup quarterback, so I'm going to give the Jets the benefit of the doubt that they're not lying on the injury report here, and Tyrod's healthy enough to play. And if that's the case, I think the first thing I want to see from Glenn this week is a new quarterback, just for the sake of trying to show your team you still care, you're trying to win.
Yep, 100%. I think it's with the 10 days, if you're going to make the change, is now. And I think it's a coin flip. I don't think we're going to know until like Saturday. This is just how they've handled this stuff.
Does it bother you at all, by the way, just how Glenn is with the media?
Last week was a little funny, more so than annoying with some of the stuff with Samini, and I do wonder if those guys actually kind of like each other behind the scenes because they've been going at it for a while. I think it's a little over the top. It's a little overdone. There's no doubt about that. And the caginess with the quarterback thing in particular, it will wear thin and will continue to wear thin. I get the approach he's doing. He's trying to bring the heat on himself, and he wants any little competitive advantage he gets. Let's see. You win a couple more games. Nobody cares about that. You go out and you start losing by 20 and 30 again. It's going to become a much bigger problem. So it's been interesting. I think it's a little grating, but I think he'll continue to fine tune some of these elements of the job going forward.
Few minutes left with Joe Caporoso. So if you have a question, super chat it in. Gotham Green says, I think on top of moving off of Wilkes, we need one more offensive mind. Jake, I know you have mentioned it, but our QB coach is a running back. If we get a quarterback this year, that may be the most important hire. I just think when you look at some of the staff that Glenn hired, I think Engstrand is promising, but do we really need like Scott Turner as like the senior voice? Could we upgrade there? Charles London, he was a former running back. I'm not exactly sure how he's qualified to necessarily be a QB coach. It's not like he has like this rich history of quarterbacks he's been around as well. So I question that one. I would like to see, obviously, some major changes on the defensive side of the ball, but some major changes to the offensive staff if Engstrand we think is going to be back for next year.
Yeah, I think adding a senior offensive voice, particularly if you have a rookie quarterback, is smart, right? Again, it's not going to be Brian Dable, but is there a Brian Dable type? Someone who has some history of working with young quarterbacks and having success to come in and support Engstrom and support Glenn. Again, especially if you're going to have a rookie. The Jets tried to do this with Zach Wilson, with Knapp. Unfortunately, there was a tragedy that happened, so it never worked out. You need another guy who's got a little experience nurturing a rookie if that's the route you're going to go. If they're going to shock us and do some crazy trade for a veteran, maybe it's a different conversation. I still think as of today, it's more likely than not. There's a rookie starting at some point next year, so adding someone there makes sense.
Mr. Chilking goes, when are we going to let Cook cook? Brady Cook. What? All right, Joe, here's the schedule. Predict when we actually get that Brady Cook start that you and I definitely see happening at some point.
I think he starts against the Saints. I think that will be his first start. And maybe he goes Saints. He plays in that Pats game. And then I don't know if he makes it to the final game and end up having to go back to Fields or Tyrod. I'm expecting some real Bryce Petty energy when we see Cook at some point. But I'll say by the Saints game, we see him at least once.
Oh, that Saints game, man, is going to have such major ramifications for the draft. I was rooting hard for all the teams that are in like the Jets range yesterday. Tennessee almost had a win over Houston. You had Cleveland almost having a win over the Ravens. But that game, Jets-Saints, and I think the Saints also have a game left with the Titans on their schedule. Those are going to be massive for the Tankathon standings.
100%. I think there's also a Browns-Raiders game next week. That'll be another interesting one to watch. We'll see. The chips are going to fall where they fall. My guess is the Jets pick somewhere between 3rd and 6th. I would, again, if you're a Jet fan, make mental peace with them winning 1 or 2 more games at least. It's probably going to happen. This is the NFL. And just like they won 2 in the first half of the year, they'll probably win 2 in the back half of the year. and you see where it lands. I still think they're probably picking top 5 in most scenarios.
I think you're right. Now, all right, we'll get you out of here with this, Joe. If the draft were today, we know the Jets are sitting there. I just showed the graphic. They're at number 5. If the draft were today, your prediction for what they do with that pick. Notice I said pick because there is a chance they could potentially move up and not actually be at 5 if that's where they end up at the end of the season.
I think as of today, I'd predict they find a way to leave with Mendoza or Simpson. One of the two, even if they have to move up a spot or two to get him. I think they want to take the quarterback this year. I think they like both those guys. This is me projecting. I'm going to assume this is how it's going to play out. And they find a way to take a quarterback with that top 5 pick, even if they have to move up a spot or two to do so.
I'm right there with you. I just think when people say wait till 2027, it's a better class. One, we said that about this year's class. It feels like we say that all the time. And two, are we sure that Woody Johnson, who's not exactly known in the last couple of years for being very patient, is going to be able to stomach another maybe 4 to 6 win season next year? And Aaron Glenn is definitely going to get 2027. What if he gets so fed up with the lack of winning that he says, you know what, I want someone else to be making those picks in 27 and take a quarterback? So I'm not definitively convinced that the idea the Jets can wait on a quarterback till 2027 is a proven plan and even a smart strategy for job preservation if you're Glenn and Muji.
Yeah, I think at this point it's probably about 50-50 if it ends up being 26 or 27, but that theory makes a ton of sense. I don't know how patient Woody Johnson ultimately ends up being, and if they're better next year, they could be picking like 14th, and They might not be able to get the quarterback that they want because I don't think they're going to be able to do a Fields thing again and be 2-8 through 10 games. I think they try to go get a different bridge quarterback, and if they do that, you're that much further away from the top of the draft.
I'm right there with you. Joe, plug Badlands before you get out of here. What can people expect from you guys the rest of the way?
I mean, look, we're going to have daily content the rest of the way. Obviously, we'll start talking a little more draft with each passing week. We're at patreon.com/Badlands TOJ. Plenty of new content coming up through the Ravens game and every game the rest of the way.
Looking forward to listening, Joe. Always appreciate you hopping on. I had Connor on the radio show I did on Friday, which is always fun. So appreciate both of you guys. Appreciate Will, who comes on with us every week as well, and everyone in the Badlands family. So, Joe, you're the man. All the best to you, and hopefully better days are ahead for the Jets.
Thank you for having me.
Joe Caporoso with us there. Hit the like button if you guys are just tuning in. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Again, we have a raffle for a Jets Legends jersey at the end of the show. Joe Namath, Joe Klecko, Curtis Martin, Wayne Corbett, Darrell Revis, Nick Mangold, and I'll add one more. How about Keyshawn Johnson? Especially because it's the Mitchell and Ness style throwback Keyshawn Johnson jersey that is up for grabs. Comments, questions, super chats, they will cut the line. How about this, right? I just talked about it with Joe, but on FanDuel, the Jets opening up as a 14.5-point underdog. Crazy. I think what you definitively want to see is the Jets just not get blown out. Be competitive, right? Be in the game. A lot of people are rooting for losses at this point, and I get that. I think Joe said it best. Be comfortable with the fact that they're probably going to win another 1, if not 2 games. Now, the good news from a Jet perspective, as you look at the remaining games on the schedule, Miami all of a sudden is playing a lot better. I know they won ugly yesterday, but they're winning. You want that game to still matter for Miami when the Jets play them on December 7th. Now, are the Dolphins going to make the playoffs this year? No, but hopefully they're still mathematically alive. I think that would be great. Just helps the game matter, and if you're someone who's in tank mode, you want that game to matter for Miami. Jacksonville, that game should matter for them. They're not a great team, but they did play great against the Chargers yesterday, so good for them. The Saints game, I mean, look, at Brady Cook is starting. Who knows, right? Who knows? That game, Jets probably should win. I don't know, though. I will see. New England, I mean, I doubt it. At Buffalo, that game looks like it will matter for the Bills. My fear was, hey, they're going to be resting all their starters, playing for the 1 seed at the beginning of the year. The Bills, I don't think are going to win the division because New England's 9-2, but I think that game will matter. Look, I think at the end of the day here, the Jets are probably going to win maybe 2-3 more games, maybe. And I think they're going to be in a spot where they're going to trade up for their guy. And I don't think it's going to cost nearly as much as what some have speculated on for them to be able to move up and get their guy. I just don't see it that way. And I wouldn't trade heaven and earth if I had to, but I would be willing to trade for my surplus of picks. That's why you make these deals, because if you don't have the quarterback, none of it matters. And if you believe in this staff, this regime, right, you believe in Muji, then you got to let them pick their quarterback. They weren't winning with Sauce or Quinnen. We knew that. This league is built around having an offense, and you have those picks to make a move. So if I will answer the question I just asked Joe Caporoso. If the draft was today, I predict the Jets would move up and they would take either Ty Simpson or Fernando Mendoza if those are the top quarterbacks by the time we get to the draft. I know people now seem to like the USC quarterback, Jaden Mayava. I know Will Parkinson is tweeting about that this morning. He's a Southern Cal fan. I have only watched him play a handful of times, so I'm going to have to start paying more attention to him for sure. But I think the Jets are going to end up getting a quarterback. I just don't think the wait till 2027 strategy is possible for this regime. I don't think Glenn and Muji are guaranteed 2027. What if they go out there and win 4 games next year? Let's say they finish with 4 wins this year, right? Which might be generous, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, right? The Jets finish with 4 wins. Okay. Then they go out there. Let's say we'll give them 1 more win next year, right? Or even 2 more wins. So let's say they go 6-11 in 2026. So you do the math. 10 wins over their first 2 years. Are they guaranteed a year 3 at that point? I don't know. I don't think it's a lock. And then here's the problem if they do ultimately get a year 3. Now we are going into the 3rd year of Glenn and this regime. And don't they have to win in year 3? Right? But you have a rookie quarterback. So can you expect to win with a rookie quarterback? Now it's like the Giants situation where you should have just fired the regime in the offseason. Because are you doing what's in the best interest of your quarterback if he has to win? Are they going to the quarterback early before he's ready to try and save their job like Dable just did and it didn't work because he got fired? Now, Dart's actually played well, so I think the Giants' job is still attractive. Maybe not as attractive as it should be if they got rid of Joe Shane, but you can kind of see where I'm going here. Then you're all of a sudden talking about bringing in a different coaching staff for a quarterback they didn't draft. And that was the Giants situation in the first place with Daniel Jones. Dable and Shane, they took over and they kept Daniel Jones for a year. But he played well enough and won a playoff game. They had to keep him. And the rest is history. That's their problem. I don't really care for the Giants on a Jet show right now. But just using other examples around the league, there's a lot of risk if, hey, wait till 27, say they pick their quarterback, then how many wins are they going to get with a rookie in year 1? With that rookie. It's year 3 for the staff and GM, year 1 for the rookie, then what? They don't win, but they get a year. To me, you have to get the quarterback this offseason. Now, there's exceptions. What if all these guys go back to school? But I think you've got to draft the quarterback in the first round. And if not, right, say you can't get one of the guys you like, you have to take someone on day 2, like what the Saints did. Clearly, they didn't love Dart or Shedeur Sanders. You can see why they didn't love Shedeur Sanders, by the way. But they still took Shuck in the 2nd round, which is not a nothing pick. And at least they could evaluate him the rest of the way. The Jets need to have some sort of quarterback next year they're evaluating. I think it's going to be someone they take in the top 5, though, when it's all said and done. I still believe that. Couple membership shout-outs here before we get to your calls this morning on the show. Our guy, Mike DeRamo, is in the house, and he just gifted the community 5 channel memberships. Boom! Shout out to Mike, who's the one who made me this awesome custom Jets Thor hammer. Mike's 5 memberships went to the following 5 listeners: Fa Koff, Joe I, Liberty, Gerald Fisher, Franco Agostini, all receiving a gifted membership from Mike, who enters our raffle this morning for 5. Gotham Green Goblin in the house. He became a channel member all by himself. He's in the raffle for 1. Thank you, Mr. Gotham Green. All right, your calls are coming up, so load them up. Let's see. Also, Boss Gore, I apologize. I know you had the super chat. I'll pass it off. I'll pass it to Joe that you also are a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. Appreciate you tuned in. Black Gypsy, I didn't forget you. You gifted a membership right as the show started. You are in the raffle for 1 as well. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Thanks for joining us. Another week of content on the show. It's also the Matt O'Leary wedding week. So that will be quite the doozy this Saturday. But let's get to some calls right now. First up today is Michael Levinson. What's up, Michael?
Hey, Jake, I had to wear the shirt from Friday that everybody was making fun of me.
The prison outfit.
Yes. I said, I'm going to call in. Jake said, wear the shirt again. this whole quarterback situation, like I told you, I've been out of work. So once again, Saturday, I watched Simpson on Friday. I watched Mendoza on Saturday. And I'm sorry, I watched Moore on Friday. Moore and Simpson, I think, are going back in. I really do. Neither of them have any time starting, and I think it'd be wrong to draft someone again with like Simpson has 9 starts this year. I just don't think any of these guys, played against any good defenses. And we all know, listen, you can make NFL throws in college. You come to the NFL, it's a different game, And when you said, I remember last week, you said, I draft a guy in the first round this year and next year. When does that ever happen? You don't have time to evaluate a quarterback in year one. I think one time that happened, which you mentioned, was Rosen got drafted in the first round. Then they changed head coaches to Kingsbury, and then he wanted his college quarterback, and he drafted him with the number 1 overall pick. So that really never happens. I don't see us taking a quarterback in the first round and say, he doesn't work, we'll take one next year. And like I said, when I heard you talk to Connor Rogers on Friday, he didn't seem very glowing on any of these quarterbacks, if you remember.
He liked Simpson. That was his guy. He liked Simpson the best.
No, well, he said his quote was, if he had to take someone this year, it'd be Simpson. He didn't say that, oh, this is my guy.
Yeah, I mean, look, we still have a lot of football to play, though.
No,
That's also what he said. I mean, these guys are going to play each other potentially in the college football playoff as well. And to your point, maybe some of these guys go back to school, Michael. But here's the thing. If these guys are projected as a top 10 pick, they're probably coming out because everyone watched what happened with Drew Aller, first round guy, but he went back to school and got hurt. Now he's probably going to go in like the 3rd, maybe 4th, or even later than that in the draft.
Right.
So there's a risk in going back to school. And also, if everyone says it's a better quarterback class next year, don't you want to get out and get in front of it today and come out and be a part of this class? Because you'll make way more money if supply and demand, you're one of the few legit options for teams. So I just think when everyone talks about these guys all going back to school, it's a little premature for that. I think time will tell.
Well, like I said, so let's just say hypothetically Moore and Simpson go back. Now you're left with Mendoza. Will Parkinson, as you just said, loves the guy from USC. But let's say it's just Mendoza. Like last year, it was just Ward. All right. Do you trade out of the pick, get more ammunition for next year, maybe have a 4th first-round pick, and then you have 2 more quarterbacks coming out? And you can trade. I mean, I know what you're saying. Why wait? Listen, as Jet fans, we've seen everything not work. So why would it work now? I am sorry, Jake. I mean, I'm 64 years old, and I've seen this 1,000 times. And let's face it, Sam Darnold, okay, is a perfect example. Take away yesterday's 4 interceptions, okay? But Sam Darnold is a perfect example. You put a running game with him, wide receivers, an O-line. Last year in Minnesota, you had Jefferson, Addison Reed, okay? Even Sanchez in 2009 and 2010, the team was stacked with a running game, offensive line. In 2011, they dismantled the whole team. He was back to what he was. So a quarterback can't only be analyzed by his talent, because if you don't put people around him, it's not going to work. And we never do that.
Well, that's also part of it, right? And that's why I think you have to just take a quarterback you believe in and hope that they're better set up to surround him with what he needs. I mean, I feel good about our offensive line. They already have a number 1 receiver. They have, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that Brees is back in some capacity for at least next year. Like, I think you're not starting from scratch. Like Sam Darnold started from scratch. I think even, Zach Wilson ultimately just couldn't play. But that first year, compare the rosters. Like whoever the quarterback is stepping in to a way better situation. I think there'll be someone that comes out that the Jets will like and end up taking. I just don't think waiting till 27 is a real strategy they can do unless you tell me they're going to go out there and surprise all of us in the offseason and get a legit quarterback that becomes available that we're not seriously entertaining. Burrow, Dak, someone like that is your entrenched starter. And then all of a sudden you're not talking about quarterback. But that feels unlikely to me at this point.
But do you really want someone else's guy?
I would take Burrow. Yes. Burrow, I don't care. He's 29 years old. Yes, I will take him in a second.
What are you giving up for him?
Whatever I got to give up. 3 first-round picks. And then yeah. I mean, he's Joe Burrow, man. He's Joe Burrow. He was been to a Super Bowl. He's 29. The same people that say he's always hurt. Okay, well, when he's not, he's a top 3 player in the sport.
Yeah.
Like last year, he wasn't hurt. Guys get hurt. Anyone can get hurt. Look at all the injuries in the NFL this year at the quarterback spot. It happens. You could be incredibly durable and still get hurt. So, yeah, I'll take my chances. Like, I could acquire the guy and still have leftover ammunition. So I would do it. Yeah. I mean, I don't trust this regime to pick the right quarterback. I'm hoping I'm wrong because I think they're going to pick someone. But if I get a guarantee that I know a 29-year-old in his prime is my guy, yeah, I'd do it.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's as much as we pick the right guy. I think it's as much as do we have the coaching in place.
Somehow find our own guy. Basically what I mean.
Right. And then have someone on the staff, a quarterback's coach that can develop them. Because without coaching, it's not going to work.
Agreed.
We need a wide receiver. They got to get a top wide receiver. I'm not worried about the defense right now because we have plenty of money to get a corner, get a linebacker, another pass rusher if we had to. Okay. We need to develop a quarterback and put receivers around him that can help him.
I agree with all that. I think the concern is not even necessarily like the talent. It's the head coach, the play caller, the whole infrastructure. I think that's the bigger deal. Good call, Michael. Way to start us off on a new week here. Hit the like button. Spencer Green says, let me know, bro. I'm locked on 100 for 750 if you want it. Really? So you wanted, after losing the Patriots Jets bet, Spencer Green is now offering me $100 if the Ravens beat the Jets. But if the Jets do beat the Ravens, I owe him $750. Chat, should I do it? Spencer, I will weigh my options. Right now, though, we will get back to your calls. Hit the like button if you're tuning in. Reminder, the raffle's tomorrow. So if you want to win a signed Revis helmet, signed LaDainian Tomlinson jersey, and a signed CJ Mosley helmet, you got to enter to win. Plus, it helps support the channel and support the community. Ladies and gentlemen, right now it's time for this guy.
Alert, alert, Allen alert. CJ fans are dumbass jerks. Alert, alert, Allen alert. Delusional dreams from pathetic fans. My Big Joe is a dog. Beastbreaker is fat and dumb as a rock. And Gator's a dick who blocked all my chats. We should have got all Josh Allen to start. This show needs me. Jake knows I'm right, and he's always wrong. Alert, alert, Allen alert. CJ fans are dumbass jerks. Alert, alert, Allen alert. You hate because I'm always right.
Good morning, Jacob. 100 for 750. That's like stealing money. So if I were you, I would take it. Not only would you get $100, but Boy Green will be beardless. So that's double the whammy. I'm an avid college football guy. Dante Moore has 8 to 10 million reasons to stay in school. And I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to stay at Oregon. Nike's going to give him nice money. And he will stay. I want to talk about the draft, but I'm not going to talk about the top 5 pick. Again, we disagree. I would not trade up for Mendoza, but that's just me. What I'm looking forward to is the 3 picks they have between 25 and 50. I think there is so much talent in this draft, depth-wise, between 25 and 50, that the Jets could absolutely clean up. Whether it means trading back from the Colt pick, that means getting additional capital in day 3. That's where the draft, I think, will really set the tone for the Jets, because you can find yourself a wide receiver 2 in that range. You could find yourself a starting safety in that range. You can find yourself another edge in that range. That is where the Jets need to clean up, more so than the top 5 pick. That's where I think Muji needs to clean up. I mean, Muji was on the staff in 2022 in Denver, where they drafted Nick Benito at 64. So maybe the Jets can find their own Nick Benito at 64. That would work for us. One other comment, actually 2 comments. First of all, I mentioned this morning. I'm shocked the Chiefs did not give up a 3rd for Brees. Watching them yesterday, they need a running back real badly. I'm shocked they were stubborn enough not to make that trade. That's just me. And the 3rd comment I have, and I had a discussion with friends of mine yesterday.
You have friends?
I do. I know. I pay them
Wow.
every week. I know. That's pretty much it. If I watched the end of the Dolphin Commander game at the end of the regulation. At 4th and 1 with 1:40 to go at 13-13, what would you have done?
Say the scenario again.
It was 13-13,
Oh, and they went for it, right?
and they went for it
Yeah.
on 4th and 1.
It's been a low scoring game the whole way. I would have kicked.
Very, very shaky. I would have gone for it, but that's just me. But I think it's a really tough call with a minute 40 to go to give them the entire field to tie the game, where you could just basically bury them at 2013.
Yeah, but at that
I thought
point,
it was an interesting call.
Yeah, but at that point in the game, given how the game has played out, low scoring, I would have confidence in my defense at that point.
I was a little scared about that one, but I'm glad the Dolphins won in a sense, because now they have a little separation between them and the Jets. And again, if I'm the Jets, 2-15 looks really good. And if the Jets can get into the top 3 and maybe one of those quarterbacks falls to us, that would be the perfect scenario.
That is the perfect scenario. But so just to be clear, if it costs, let's say the Jets finish at 4, they got to get the 2 in this scenario here. If it cost them one of their 2 2s this year at a pick swap, you still wouldn't do it.
I don't think it will cost them that little.
But let's say it did.
One of the 2s, I would give up the Dallas 2. I would not give up our own 2. But I don't think it will cost that little, because I think a team like the Rams, especially if the Falcons continue to lose, I could see them being one of the teams to move up now that they have 2 1s.
So so do the Jets. So by your and the Jets also have 3 more 1s and 27. So by your logic, the Rams. But hold on, let me just finish. If the Rams made that move, right? Sean McVay valued one of these quarterbacks. You, Allen, would still be like, yeah, we shouldn't do it. If the Rams wanted to do that, that would tell me all I need to know, that these quarterbacks are worth doing it for.
I don't think the Rams will do it, but I think now that they have the ammunition to do it, I would not trade. I would only trade the 2nd Dallas pick. I would not trade anybody in the 2027 draft. I would not. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I like Mendoza. I know he threw the ball extremely well on Saturday. He took 5 sacks. I think 3 of those are sacks he should not take. He needs to get rid of the ball. I think there's some holes in his game. If he falls to us, great. I am not trading up a future 1 or any of 1.
If I have 3 1s, I'm willing to trade one of them if it guaranteed me I got the quarterback that they wanted.
I am not.
That's why you make these trades.
I understand that's why you make these trades. I am not trading any future 1s.
You just want the Jets to be bad. That's why.
It's not that.
Your scenario is you don't want the Jets
all
to
you
ever
want,
get.
Jake.
It's true. You don't want the Jets to get a quarterback. That's what this is.
I do want the Jets to get a quarterback.
No, you don't.
I don't want
remain bad. You love the idea. How excited are you about the idea of waiting till 2027? That must make you just giddy.
No, I like
because it guarantees another shit season in 26 that we have nothing to root for.
Okay.
Nothing would make you happier than Jets pass on quarterback this year. They go into 2026 with a trade for Mac Jones or some other Fakatu bridge.
I'm not trading for Mac Jones.
They're terrible in 26, and then you get the absolute joy of another year of this nightmare.
Let me rebut that before we go. I like Mendoza. I don't love Mendoza. I love the 2020.
What if the Jets love Mendoza?
Okay. I am not trading a 1 in 2027 to move up. I'm not. I'm just not doing it.
How is your quarterback evaluation in the past? Do you have a good feel for the position?
I like some of the positions.
Should I trust you more than Darren Muji, perhaps?
I listened to your conversation with Connor Rogers.
Yes.
And Connor Rogers actually aligns more with me than he does with you. You know that.
Yeah, but he still said he would take Ty Simpson.
If he was there, he would not trade up for him.
Okay, well, the context is everything.
If one of those 2 guys fall to us, I'm fine. I am not trading any 2027 first to move up. I'm not. I'm just not doing it. I don't think these are the 2 guys you move arm and length to go and get. I don't. That's why I hope the Jets lose out, so the Jets are not in that position to be forced to move up because they're desperate. Okay.
And what happens in 27 when the Jets are somehow not in range, even with all these picks, to still get their guy at that point because the teams in front of them don't want to trade?
2027 will be 5-12, 4-13. The Jets will have 3 1s. There will be 4 to 5.
So at that point, you're willing to then trade up for a quarterback?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, but a year ago, you were telling me how great this year's quarterback class is. So how do we know that?
Not worked. But again, I like saying
you're going to be different. You told me
because I think guys this year will move into next year. I do. I think
We say this every year.
Dante Moore will be a top 10 pick next year.
And also, I'm not
Julian
convinced
Sane will be
Dante
a
Moore is
top
not
10
going
pick
to.
next
I'm not
year.
convinced he's definitively going back to school. If he
So
has a
Dante
great,
Moore is going back to school.
you don't know that though. You don't. What if he's projected to be a top 5 pick? What if he leads Oregon to a national championship this year, which is on the
I don't
table?
think he will come back. I think Nike money is great money, and I think that's where he's.
Well, here's what's great about this argument. We're not going to have the answer until months from now. So I look forward to more of these hypothetical calls from you.
So basically, if the Jets go 2-15, you would not be mad. You would actually want them to lose out.
Would I not? I mean, I guess like I'll look at it
Right
as,
now, you would rather them be 2-15 than 4-13.
yes, but I'm also not going to be here like like giddy when they lose like you are. I think the conversation I had with Joe Caporoso at the start of the show, like, can they be competitive in some of these games? Can we see real improvement? Can we like that's kind of the stuff I want to see. I've accepted they're going to win a couple games here, Alan. They're not going to finish with 2 wins.
I think they could beat the Falcons because their coach is garbage. But
they could beat the Falcons. They still could win at home against Miami in cold weather. They could win against the Saints.
Might win 1 or 2 more games.
There's winnable games left. They're going to probably win at least 1 or 2 more games.
1 more game. But that would drop them. If they win 1 game, they could drop to the 6-7 range, the way it's set
Oh,
up.
No.
And I'm not trading up from there. No chance. Because that will cost multiple ones.
You think they're going to finish with 3 wins in this scenario here and fall back to the 6 or 7 range?
I think they can go 6-7, yes. I think Tennessee is going to be ahead of us. I think the Giants might lose out. They'll be ahead of us.
No, the Giants, the way they played yesterday, they'll win a game or 2. Look at their schedule the last 4 weeks.
The only game they might win is against Washington, if you look at their schedule. I think Cleveland is
They also play the Raiders. The Giants play the Raiders and the Cowboys still.
The Cowboys are actually going to win games down the stretch.
They might, but they also have 3 wins right now. So I don't think you could just sit here and say the Giants are going to finish with only 2 wins.
I think Washington has a chance to lose out.
And they're not taking a quarterback. So great. I can make a deal with them.
But they're going to want a lot.
I think when you say they want a lot, I don't think we know what that means. In the history of trade-offs from this spot, it's not multiple ones like your initial call a couple days ago was suggesting.
From 1 to, if Mendoza's the only guy on the board, okay, pretend everybody else goes back to school and the Jets are sitting at 5 and Tennessee has the first pick, they will want a king's ransom for that pick. King's ransom for that pick. Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, Alan. I've said all I can say to you. This guy has some words for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of all ages, welcome to the event of the year, the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the Asmaniac Rumble.
Good morning, sunshine. I hope you are very, because lately you've been very boring lately to me. You sound very boring.
I've been boring lately, Beast?
I don't know who's worse, you or Judge Judy. And Judge Judy, I happen to like. You, I don't know if your head's on backwards or did you put your underwear on backwards this morning?
Beast, you're in Chicago. Go watch a real team. You have a chance to go watch a real team.
Sorry. My teams are right here.
They're 7-3, Beast. Go.
I'm not talking that team, you dumbass.
7-3. Go to Chicago this week.
Hey, shut your pie hole.
I'm not shutting up, Beast.
Knock the cherries off your tree.
Beast.
Look, bro.
Name me the who are the 3 quarterbacks on the Jets roster?
I'm opting for the Dollar Tree toilet paper because number one, you're not.
Who are the 3 quarterbacks on the Jets roster?
You're making me.
Okay. I appreciate it, Beast.
You're just.
Who are the 3 quarterbacks on the Jets roster?
Dream. You're a dream.
Beast.
You're like a fantasy.
Beast, I'm very disappointed in you.
Here's the difference. I've been around this since I was 13 years old. Where have you? What part of the planet do you want?
Beast.
What part of the planet do you want?
Beast. Name me the 3 quarterbacks on the Jets roster.
Dickhead.
Dickhead. Wow,
you're in Texas.
Name me these 3 quarterbacks on the Jets roster right now.
Look. Right now, you have Brady Cook. I'd love to see him come up. Tyrod Taylor, Mr. Banged up.
Beast?
Okay, I want to see a little bit of him more. Beast? And then last but not least, put Justin Fields on the bench. He's not quality. He's not satisfied.
Beast, where did Brady Cook
he looks like a college running back.
Okay. Beast.
Why do you ask?
Where did Brady
Let me
Cook
ask.
go to
Let me ask
school?
you this question: Who was the best player in 1998 on the New York Jets? Now the
Look at you,
curveballs are
Beast.
coming out.
Very proud of
Who was
you,
the,
Beast. I'm very proud of you.
Who was the best player on the New York Jets in '98? Come on, I'll throw you a curveball. Let's see if you could crank one.
I believe, was that Vinny?
Running back. I'm talking running back. Running back.
You said who's throwing the football, Beast, right?
I said, who was the best player on the Jets in 1998? The best player.
What, Martin?
There you go. Wow. Check out the big brain on Allen.
Beast, I expect more from you. Beast, go to Chicago this week. They're 7-3. Aaron Rodgers may not play. Go see them, Beast. Come on, Beast. I expect more from you. Beast, I expect more from you.
My thing is, let me address something to you, twat breath. Sit down, shut up, learn to listen.
Sitting down. I'm working. Yeah, Beast.
And get the
Beast,
potatoes.
I have a job. I don't know what you have.
Get the potatoes out your ears.
What job do you have this week, Beast?
Beast,
do you have a job this week?
Did you learn anything in school? I don't think you don't know who Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Donatello.
Beast, what is your job this week?
Some of the other greats.
Beast, what is your job this week? What do you do?
What do you want? What do you want to know, huh, rodent?
I'm curious what you do for work. I'm very curious.
Curious? The only people I talk to is the real people.
Because I don't think there's any more cutting lawns in Chicago in November.
Hey,
so what is there, Beast? Come on.
Look, dipshit.
Dipshit. A little better than dipshit.
You're lacking in more ways than one. You're no worse. You're no worse than the
Beast, what are you doing for work this week? I'm worried about you, Beast. Beast, you need to feed that 350-pound body.
Let me run it by you. Tail of the tape.
What are you doing for work?
Let me run something by you. Tail of the tape. Back-to-back belts. 6 times. Triple crown.
What belts?
3. 4. Single belt. 2. Grand Slam.
What belts?
Hall of Famer.
The ones that can't get around your pants? What belts are you talking about?
Me. I bleed more than you. You haven't bled any blood on the battlefield.
Oh, my God.
Too much of a yellow stain in your pants.
ECW died years ago, and so did you, Beast. I'm sorry, Beast. It's over. Beast, it's over.
You tell me how crazy I am. I just took 4 chair headshots.
Great points made by both participants in the Rumble there. Well done. Beast, clearly a victory for Beastbreaker 666. I mean, come on now. All right. We all got too much Allen on a Monday. I apologize for that. The Rooster checks in with a super chat that earns him 2. That's right, 2 raffle entries. Whatever we do, don't trade up. We pick where we pick. These quarterbacks are not generational. If one is there, we pick great. If not, take best player. Roster has lots of needs of players. See, here's where I'm going to push back, though. These quarterbacks aren't generational. Okay, and the quarterbacks who have been labeled generational the last couple of years, what have they done? Caleb Williams has been better this year. He's not playing great. Ben Johnson's a really good coach. That Bears defense is phenomenal, right? Like, they're winning, but Caleb Williams is not unbelievable. He was the can't-miss generational guy, right? Drake May's been the best quarterback this year from that class. Last year, it was Jaden Daniels by a wide margin. So don't give me the generational label to define whether or not you could trade up for someone. The Giants traded up for Jackson Dart. You think they regret it? Was he generational a year ago? No, there was a debate if he was even going to be a first-round pick. Right? I didn't want him in the top 10. I'd be the first to admit that if I could do it over again, yeah, I definitely would take Dart. And I think Membo's been phenomenal, but Dart's a quarterback. Right? There's no perfect quarterback prospect. Trevor Lawrence, I know they looked good yesterday. Has he lived up to what his billing was? No. If he played in a different market, there'd be way more scrutiny on his career so far. He's been good, not great. I think good is at times generous. I watch Trevor Lawrence, and he's kind of mediocre. More games than not when you watch him. He's not bad. Is he great? He was the perfect quarterback prospect, they said. So when we do it's not generational. Now, man, you know what you need? You need someone that you believe in, that you have the infrastructure to support. If the Jets think that's Mendoza or Simpson or whoever, Moore, Maeva, whoever, then take them within reason. I don't think the Jets are going to trade away multiple firsts to move up a couple spots. I think they would trade a 2 this year and at the most maybe one of their ones next year. or maybe 2 2s to move up from, let's say, 3-1. Remember, they traded 3 2s to go from 6-3 a couple years ago. More than a couple now. It was the Darnold year. McCagnon made that deal on St. Patrick's Day. I'll never forget it. Taylor in the house. Mike T defending Fields and Glenn yesterday was comical. For those who say, Jake, how come you never say any of this to Mike Tannenbaum? I go, I do. You just don't listen to the show. So to prove that, I posted a 30-minute segment from the radio show I do every week with Mike Tannenbaum where we got into a screaming match over Aaron Glenn and Justin Fields. So if you're interested in that and want to be entertained, go on my YouTube when you're done watching this and watch the video of Mike Tannenbaum and I debating the job Aaron Glenn has done in year 1 and whether or not they should bench Justin Fields. And you tell me your thoughts in the comments after. Thank you for watching, Taylor. We're on every Sunday from 8 to noon. Mike is on for 3 hours. He joins the show at 9, and he's with me till noon. And yesterday there were some fireworks. Shake and Bake says, Jake, do you think we could snag Mekhi Lemon with the Colts first rounder? I don't know where he's necessarily projected to go, Shake and Bake. Right? Like, I'm not at that point where I know where he's projected to go. I mean, Tankathon has him right now going to the Bills at 26. And like their mock that they update every 3 days. The Jets pick right now is 28 from the Colts. They actually have the Jets taking wide receiver Denzel Boston, 6'4", 209, out of Washington. So I do think the best path for the Jets, at least now, and this is subject to change based on what they do in the offseason, right? Do they trade for a number 2 receiver? Do they sign someone in free agency we're excited about? Does A.D. Mitchell learn how to catch and all of a sudden looks like he can be the number 2 going into next year? Or maybe we feel like, hey, let's use our first-round pick on a different position and let's draft someone in the second round at receiver instead. Like, I don't know. But I do think if I was projecting right now what I think the Jets will do, I think it's going to be quarterback and then receiver with their 2 firsts that they have. More of your calls coming up shortly. Bino says, Jacob, Mike T was trying to defend the guy he searched for to the point of delusion. I can't argue with that. I think Mike has every right to his opinion. But when you're trying to defend even Justin Fields by saying, well, look at Arch Manning, he's struggling, takes time. It's not even remotely simple. You can't compare Arch Manning to Justin Fields. Justin Fields is in his 5th year. Enough. And he played in college and played great in college. So give me a break. And like, what improvements have the Jets made? And he struggled to come up with an answer. That's what I asked him. And Mike was very optimistic about this team. He picked them to win week 1. He picked them to win week 2. We do picks on the show every week. Picked them to win week 3, I'm pretty sure. Dylan, who is a draft guy, says that Levin's a top 10 to 12 pick. So if that's the case, I don't know if the Jets can get him. Let's see. We are caught up on Super Chats. Let's get to your calls. Gary is next, but not the one you guys are thinking. Gary B. What's up, Gary?
What's up, Jake? Hey, it's funny. I was actually calling because I wanted to discuss the interview yesterday. I haven't called in a while, and I was listening to that on the radio, and I was like, this is the best. You're just like dunking all over them.
Did you hear it live?
What's that? Yeah. I heard it on ESPN Radio. I just listen to ESPN New York here. Best app ever. Shout out to the company, right? But like, can you take us behind the scenes? Like, do you discuss with like producers? Like, hey, Mike, I'm gonna take a dump on you for like 30 minutes because, like with Mike T, it's like he represents like the 33rd company, and he's like really influential in hiring Glenn and knowing, like, you can clearly tell that they were going away from Rodgers, right? Just like by the way Mike talks.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear how quickly he went to that? I wasn't even bringing up Rodgers in my argument with him.
Yeah.
When he said the line about the Steelers, right? He's like, oh, that's all you want to be? I'm like, yeah, they have a winning season every year. They have a chance to win every year. They go to the playoffs almost every year. That's exactly what I would like the Jets to be. Sustained winning, having a chance. I thought that was asinine when he tried to be – when I'm like, Mike, you talk about Rodgers like he's terrible. I'm like, they're 5-4 right now. By the way, they won yesterday, so they're 6-4 now, right?
Yeah,
like that to me was crazy. He was just grasping for anything to try and justify this season. Like, just acknowledge the season's been a bleep show. Hopefully it improves, but like, it's been bad.
No, 100%. Once you brought that up, I'm like, yep. Now you know that like anybody that favored Rodgers wasn't even going to be in question. Like, it just seemed like that's the route that they wanted to go. I guess conspiracy theory there, but I don't know. You really made it seem like that. But yeah, I was just wondering, like, how you guys like come up with like talking about the topic. Is it like is something you guys prep for, or is it like just goes with the flow?
Yes and no. So we discuss like what the topics of the show are going to be. There's some benchmark segments that we always do. 11 a.m. we hit on all the games for the first 2 segments of the hour. We usually have like a national guest at 11:30 that will preview the all the games to get a feel for Jets and Giants. We usually dedicate either 9 or 10 a.m. hour to either the Jets or the Giants and do whichever one we did first at 10. But like the actual topics is based on what's topical, right? So the last few weeks, it was a lot on the trade deadline and the fallout from that. This past week, because the Jets played Thursday, I knew the 10 a.m. hour was going to be us discussing, the outcome of the game Thursday. Glenn saying that they're potentially going to make a QB change. So that kind of led to that. Did I think it was going to get to the point where we had like the fireworks back and forth? No, but I stand by everything I said. I don't care if Mike used to be the GM of the team where he helped hire Aaron Glenn. Like I got to call it how I see it.
No, it was great. And I'm curious, like, I don't know if you could dig more in the future since you're on with them every Sunday, but like just what Aaron Glenn means for the company. Like, didn't they who else have they hired?
So that was the first consulting search that they did in the NFL. Now, Rick Spielman was part of it, but Rick Spielman worked independently for the Washington Commanders search the prior year. That wasn't technically 33rd team. So Spielman was involved, but now Spielman got a job in the actual front office with Muji too. So part of the reason I think Mike wants Glenn to succeed is, one, he's got a personal relationship with the guy. He knows him. He hired him as a scout. That's where he got his start with the Jets in the first place when Mike was still the GM. Two, Mike is associated with the Jets. So like there's that. Three, he got paid for his recommendation in this search. So obviously if it goes well, it leads to the 33rd team, being something that other NFL owners will covet for their searches. So he's heavily invested in it working out. So like, I get that, but we got to call a spade a spade. And, he's entitled to his opinion, but I'm going to obviously give mine as well.
Yeah. I don't know who's be hiring him going forward at this rate. And then I wanted to touch on the Joe Burrow talk. I know it's still a pipe dream, but would you trade Quinnen and Sauce for Joe Burrow? Right. I know the 3 first-round picks are lower than the, 3 to 10, wherever we end up picking. But, we got 3 first-round picks for those players, one of which was unhappy and talked about it. And Sauce, there's, I'd say the fan base was divided. You got like the Joe B opinion on Sauce that he's got to go. And then you got the people that love him. But we ended up getting 3 first-round picks. Mm-hmm. And I think, I don't know, 3 first-round picks and some changes is nothing for a franchise quarterback because it starts there. And that's all I got for you today.
Yeah, I would do it in a second, Gary. I think you sum it up well, right? Sauce and Quinnen for Joe Burrow. Because people love the idea of picks, but when you actually see what they turn out to be, if you still don't have a quarterback, it doesn't mean anything. So that's why I'm all in on getting a quarterback however I got to do it within reason. Like, would I trade 3 1s for Burrow? Yes. Would I trade 3 1s to move up in the draft? No. It's got to be within reason, right? But I don't think it will cost them multiple firsts to get up to get a quarterback they want. I vehemently disagree with the people think it's going to cost like an arm and a leg to move up a couple spots.
I don't know who, I don't follow college football. I don't know who like the elite non-QB talent is. Like I think there's an edge rusher and, but like if Tennessee wants an elite player and the Jets are close enough, like, I don't think it would cost that much. They don't want to drop too far down the board. It's not like they're trying to get, a ton of picks to go to 10 and below. Like, if the Jets are up there, it shouldn't be that much.
Yeah, I'm with you. And like, look, if they love one of these guys and that's the cost of doing business, that's why you make the trade. If you notice what Mike T said yesterday, that he said when speaking with teams, I think he even used the word like fear, like what the Jets are capable of as far as the ammunition to go up and get someone. So hopefully there's someone worth it to actually go up and get, and they get it right. But I think they're going to end up taking a quarterback in this draft.
Yep. All right, man. That's all I got for you today.
Good call, Gary. Appreciate you. Calling more, Gary. You're a Gary this chat can rally around. Some super chats here. Brandon says, let's see Mendoza play the SEC in Ohio State. Let's see. I like Mendoza. He's going to get an opportunity, I think, to continue to prove that he's legit. I mean, he's leading Indiana to the college football playoff, an undefeated record right now. Like, that's not trying to minimize what he's doing. I mean, Indiana football. Indiana. Taylor says, Mike was just involved in picking Glenn and didn't want to look stupid. He's got a personal investment in him. I get it. So, oftentimes I say, Mike, I know I don't want to put you in a tough spot, but like, when we were talking about some of the debacles earlier in the year, it's like, come on. You're in the raffle for 2 more, Taylor. Thank you. The Rooster says, because these quarterbacks are not labeled generational, you don't have to give up your draft to get these guys. I like Mendoza. However, the Giants in Tennessee won't take a quarterback, so let them make their pick. Agreed. But if you want to guarantee that you're going to get your guy, Rooster, you might have to give a little bit, right? Like, it'd be pretty silly to not be willing to trade one of your second-round picks and not get the guy that you wanted in the first place. That would be pretty dumb. Right? We know the Giants aren't going to take a quarterback. You know, Tennessee's not going to take a quarterback. But Cleveland and the Saints probably will. So if you want to make sure you get one of the quarterbacks, hey, New York Giants, hey, Tennessee, what would it cost to get up? By the way, and Tannenbaum said this yesterday too. So I don't know if Darren Muji feels the same way. But Tannenbaum said as soon as the offseason starts, I'd call the Titans right away and just make a deal and get up to number 1 and then do my evaluation from there. So he just wants to get number 1 before he even knows which quarterback he's trading up for. He wants to do it right at the beginning of the offseason, which I wouldn't do. I want to at least, let it play out and with the veteran QB market and this, less than maybe 10% chance Joe Burrow is available. Be pretty stupid if you trade all your picks to move up to number 1 when you could have had Burrow. Right? So, I wouldn't do it right away, but, that's how aggressive Mike would be. Mike Perez says, I don't see Mike T sticking around for next year if you keep manhandling him. Well, I mean, it'd be nice if the Jets could win games and Aaron Glenn could look better as a coach. I mean, that's what we want to see as Jet fans. Unless you're Allen, who just wants the team to lose all the time. Bino says, Mike Tannenbaum said Fields needs time to develop. I'm like, Mike, he's in year 5. Big fella, the wide receiver we should target is C. Brazel. I'll take your word for it, big fella. I have not done any draft prep on the non-quarterbacks outside of the couple names you know about. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls right now. We got Troy, who's next up on our show today. Hello, Troy.
Hey, Jake. How you doing?
What's up, Troy?
Hey, I'm at work, but anyway, just thought wouldn't trade up this year for quarterback. I believe that Mendoza may drop to us anyway, wherever we're at.
He might.
We're in the 5 or 6 range.
Remember, everyone said Sam Darnold would never fall, and he did. We just don't know how things go.
Yeah.
The draft is unpredictable.
Just looking at some of going through some of the draft simulations, he's dropped several times. And what do you believe if we pick one up early? If Mendoza does drop to us, do we pick a flyer on Allure in maybe the 5th round or 4th round?
Possibly. It could. There's other quarterbacks too, though, right? I mean, what if they Garrett Nussmeier or something like that? I don't know. If he I maybe. There's going to be some day 2 quarterbacks that they could consider if they don't take someone in the 1st round. I'm also not against the Jets taking someone in the 1st round this year. Day 3, take someone else too. Why not? The Niners just did it with Purdy and Trey Lance.
And one more question. Do we keep Fields next year or do we let him walk?
I think they trade him somewhere or cut him.
Do you think they get anything for him?
Well, it might be like a Brock Osweiler type of trade where you got to attach a late pick or eat some of the salary just to unload the contract.
And if we let him walk, do we try to go after a Minshew?
Yeah, he's a free agent, so that'd be my early preference on a potential bridge quarterback.
All right. That's all I got. Thanks, Jake.
You got it, Troy. Appreciate you. Comments, questions, super chats. Reminder, raffle is tomorrow for 3 signed Jets items, including a signed Darrelle Revis helmet, a signed LaDainian Tomlinson Jets jersey, and a signed C.J. Mosley helmet. Jay Quest, the guy Clay I'm referring to is a clown. It's not even about Glenn. It's everything else he says. He calls in. He never calls in. He has these snarky, condescending comments all the time. It's not even about Glenn. It's everything the guy says. Everything. Clay Hobbs, call in. You won't because you hide behind your keyboard and you'll never show your face. Have a debate. I'll let you make your points, but stop calling my opinions clown takes and all the other nonsense that you write in the chat for the last year and a half. You watch the show every day that you seemingly hate. So stop watching my show, which I'll pay you to do, or call in, show your face, actually have a discussion. If not, I'm never acknowledging you again. And anytime I see your comment, we'll just put you on a 24-hour timeout because I'm not dealing with your nonsense. It's annoying. Tommy, up next on the show today. What's up, Tommy?
Hey, Jake. I think I'm finally ready to enter the quarterback debate now. I've kind of been putting it off, but after Thursday, officially going to 2-8, I'm just like, all right, well, I guess it's kind of time to start doing that. I think you're right. I don't think we can wait till 27. I think there's no guarantee that anyone would be good. I would probably prefer a free agent of some kind, maybe a Burrow pipe dream.
You kind of look like Joe Burrow, Tommy, and I say that
I
with
actually
the highest compliment, man, because that's a good looking dude, man.
I have gotten that before, so that's not out of, but I appreciate.
You got to
that.
go as Joe Burrow for Halloween, dude. You could pull it off.
I did one time. I wore like a suit with like a purple tie, and I guess he had done that look once, so I got like a ton of "you look like Joe Burrow" compliments.
You're from now on, Tommy. Have you called before? I don't think you have, right?
I did a few days ago. I called in before I want to say Wednesday, maybe Thursday.
Did you? I don't.
How
did I
think
not
it was
recognize
Thursday
you?
morning.
Man,
I think I was wearing.
I don't
was
remember.
wearing a hat. The hair does a lot for the Burrow look, and I was wearing a Jets hat, so that might have been it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
But I did.
I'm putting you in the raffle for 2, and from now on, when you call in, you're now known as Tommy Burrow on the show. All right.
Tommy Burrow. All right, I appreciate that. But I think that's why you get all of those picks, is just because you can make a move, right? Even if that's why I don't think like I'm fully in the tanking crowd, because you don't need to be 2 or 3 to get the guy you want. Even if you're 5, 6, 7, or even 8, you have first rounders that I would be willing to move. Like I would move the Colts first rounder in 27 to move up if Muji and the rest of the gang like a guy that they really want to ensure that they get. So I don't think we should wait till 27. I think you're exactly right. No one knows with these college quarterbacks. You never know who's going to be good. You never know who's coming out next year. Even now, it's too early to say, who the number 1 pick's going to be, who the quarterbacks that are even going to go into the draft are. So I think that's what the off season's for. You scout once the college season has come to a close, and you have the ammunition to make a move if you can't get a veteran like Burrow or maybe someone else that we don't even know necessarily is available. I know Kyler Murray is someone that's talked about that no one really wants. I don't think Kyler Murray would be terrible as a bridge, and I also don't think he would command the price that like a Burrow would. I don't think he would even necessarily take a first-round pick. If you're telling me we could trade a second or a third for Kyler Murray, like I don't hate that idea. I don't love it.
I still need to draft someone though. I'm only in on Murray if we draft someone with the idea of that guy sitting for the year for development purposes. I don't want to just bring in Kyler and we have our guy now. I'm not a believer in him long term, and he's always like people are like, oh, Burrow's always hurt. Yeah, but when he plays, he's an MVP of the league. Kyler Murray, when he plays, is mediocre. Like he's never been great. Like he's had fluctuating years of like okay to like good.
No, I agree. I think he'd be serviceable for what we're trying to do. I don't love the idea of drafting a rookie in the first round and just he's the starter now because there's so many growing pains and it's tough. Like quarterbacks don't really sit and learn anymore in the NFL. And I think that's something we should try and get back to. Glenn is kind of an older school guy in terms of his mentality. So I don't hate the idea of a Murray or someone like that as your quarterback for 2026, and you draft somebody in the first round that sits and learns with the intention of, okay, in a year or two, you're going to sit, you're going to develop and learn from a guy who's been here. And then, the next year, you're going to be our starter with the first round talent. I don't hate that at all. That would probably be what I would prefer. But I'm not a scout. I'm not a GM. I know pretty much nothing about what makes an NFL caliber quarterback.
You could be our quarterback though next year, Tommy. What do you say?
You know what? I'll see if I can get a training camp invite and see what I can do. But I love Burrow. I always have. I think he's a fantastic player. Yeah, he's injured. He gets like the injury prone label. But I think part of that is his offensive line has been horrible his entire career. And he took them to the Super Bowl. I think Burrow, like, obviously I don't know the guy. Maybe he's my older brother. But I think he would like the idea of going to a team with a established offensive line. I think that would be something that excites him. Obviously, does he really want to leave T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, like some real weapons? We do have Garrett Wilson, but I don't think he's quite to the level of those guys. I think he could be, but I don't think he's there yet. So it really comes to, do we get a legit number 2 receiver? Also, to go back, I haven't called in since the Thursday night game. I like A.D. Mitchell. Or yeah, I like AD Mitchell. He had some drop problems, but he was creating separation that no one in our offense other than Garrett Wilson seems to be able to consistently do.
Yep.
I like the prospect of having him on this roster, and I think that's a great trade that for someone that was just kind of thrown in to the Sauce Gardner trade. I think that's really good upside. I much rather would have him as a wide receiver 3 or even 4, along with John Mechie. Seemed like he was doing some really good things. The team got better at receiver at the deadline. And I think you grab a real second receiver to Garrett Wilson, maybe even a borderline second number 1, and you get a veteran quarterback with an offensive line. You extend Breece Hall, and all of a sudden, I mean, this is an offense. It feels like we kind of say that every year, that this is a team that can, if this, and this happens, the team will be really good. But I think offensively, the pieces are right there. That's why I don't necessarily agree with the idea that the Jets aren't going to win another game. I think they're going to win 3 or 4. That's my bold prediction. Is I think they're going to upset a lot of the tankers out there, and they're going to be drafting 7 or 8 because the Jets are just better than these teams. They're better than the Saints. They're better than the Titans, and the record may not show it, but I think they are 100% better. Which is why I don't think they're going to be picking as high as some people may want.
I think they're going to win a couple games too, Tommy. I'm right there with you. Great call. You got to call more, all right, Tommy?
All right, we'll do.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tommy Burrow checking in. He really does look like Joe Burrow, folks. That is awesome. Shout out to Tommy Burrow. By the way, here's another reason why I think the Jets are going to win more games than the pro-tanking crowd is going to want. Michael Penix suffered a potentially season-ending knee injury, which means Jets-Falcons, Jets versus Kirk Cousins, that is a winnable game. Jets are at home for that one on November 30th, right after Thanksgiving. That is a winnable game. The Falcons have lost and been blown out to some bad teams this year. They are a confusing team. They had a chance to win yesterday. They didn't. Like, the Jets could definitely win that Falcons game. They won't beat Baltimore, but they probably will split Atlanta and Miami, win one of them. And it wouldn't shock me if they then win one more, whether it's the Saints or maybe the Bills, if they end up actually not needing that game, or, maybe there is that surprise win we weren't expecting. Like, I find it hard to believe the Jets are going to just finish with 2 wins. I don't see that. I think they're going to win another game or 2. My prediction is they end up with 4 wins, which was my initial prediction, and then I changed it to 7. Then we went down to 6 after AVT. But when I was smelling 4 wins post Rodgers release, I should have just stuck with it. I might end up being right. PBM says Jets need to lose out. Well, we can't control that, PBM, and the Jets aren't going to go out there and actively try and lose. Doesn't happen. No culture is built at 4-13. Yeah, but season turnarounds happen all the time in the NFL, regardless what your record was the previous year. New England was 4-13. Then they hired Mike Vrabel, where they were 3-12. No, that doesn't make any sense. It'd be 3-14. They did beat the Bills in that last game, meaningless game. Black Gypsy says, we're not beating the Falcons. Obrick will coach his best game. Yeah, but have you seen Kirk Cousins, though, Black Gypsy? He can't move. Like, he's just, mobility-wise, a statue. The weather's cold that day. You get Kirk Cousins outdoors. Like, you watched Goff last night? I wish I knew how windy it was going to be in Philly, because I would have bet on the Eagles. Because Goff in the cold, in the wind, he's not the same player. We saw that. Cousins is similar. Yo Holmes says, Monday Night Raw at the Garden tonight. Tickets are crazy right now. It's John Cena's last ever match, right? Ladies and gentlemen, for more on tonight's Monday Night Raw, we say hello to our resident wrestler. He goes by many names on this channel. Today, we call him The Beast.
Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets! Let's go, Jets!
One, two. I made 1 shot out of 2. I'm not a Cena guy. I'm a New Japan guy. New Japan Pro Wrestling since 1972. Did my research on that. I think what we should do, because I called your show yesterday. I wanted to get in, but I couldn't get in yesterday.
What do you mean you called?
I called in. I couldn't get in.
You called the radio show?
Yeah. See. Couldn't get in. But There should be a new T-shirt that just says Justin who, and then in the back of the T-shirt, dump the chump. That should be a new slogan. Justin who in the front, and then in the back of the T-shirt, dump the chump. That should be a seller. That's a new seller. Let's look at that. And then next year, $3 billion. And what we're going to do with $3 billion, we could do a hell of a lot with it. Go get some new caliber. We need some extra caliber, and we need new weapons. And I want that Mendoza kid. The kid has it. But if he wants to come here, he's going to have to produce. And I'm not just talking sit on your ass produce. You're going to have to produce. That means you better work hard for your money, because we're not going to pay you to sit on your ass. We're going to pay you to win and to fight. And if you get banged up, we're going to take very, very good care of you. That's what we're here to do. We're here to take care of our players. You know why? We care about our players via personnel, yada yada yada. You know the rest. But like I'm going to say it right now, $3 billion for next year.
Okay.
2 new ice baths being installed in the locker room. We're also going to keep our locker rooms clean, and next year with MetLife Stadium, you know what they should do? If anyone remembers this, there used to be a red circle. Now, Jake, you might not remember this. Did you ever see the red circle on the 50-yard line where it said Meadowlands at the top, East Weatherford, New Jersey on the other side?
Yep.
They should do that. They should bring that back. It has great memory to it, and I like it that way. It's classic. It's common courtesy.
I'll look into it, Beast. Good suggestions as always. Let's see. Yedis says, would you try to take on Murray's full contract? No, I would not. I would not. Niall says, we got destroyed in Arizona. Kyler Murray's elite. Respectfully, Niall, Kyler Murray destroying the 2024 New York Jets defense is not exactly a sign that he's an elite quarterback. I would say his full body of work is that he at times has been a good quarterback. He was good enough to go to the playoffs with Cliff a couple of years ago, more than a couple already. But he's had problems staying healthy, and he's been kind of mediocre. Spencer Green says, Beast, you couldn't sniff John Cena's jockstrap. Beast, your thoughts?
Not talking. Very highly inappropriate gesture. You know what that gets? I'm like, we haven't seen a hole in a long time from me.
Hey, hold on. I'll tell you what. Let me say that. Let me say this on behalf of Beast to Spencer Green.
You could kiss my big ass. Woo!
Take that, Spencer. You're a shit gambler. Thanks for my $100. Spencer is a man of his word, though. He did pay me that night after the Patriots beat the Jets. Big fella, Beast, the big Santa is coming. Beast, you ready?
Hey, Chris, I already got something for the big Santa. You know what that is? Close your eyes. I got something for the big Santa. I hope he likes these. These are going to be very, very, very hard to come by. These are for the big Santa.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Christmas time. I've been buying these for almost 18 years, and they still put me on the edge of my seat. Yeehaw!
Well said, Beast. Well said. Chef Brian is next. What's up, Chef?
What's up, Jake? How you doing, man?
What's up, man?
Good, man. So I wanted to talk about 2 things. The first thing was the defense, man. I'm really worried about the defense. It looked terrible. It really pissed me off when Sherwood was on Diggs and he smoked them for that first down. Like, I don't understand what this coach is doing. So I'm really worried about that. And also, Glenn's defense last year wasn't even that good in Detroit. I was worried when there were the rumblings about him being the coach. I was like, man, his defense kind of sucks in Detroit. So I was worried about that. If Wilkes is gone, who do you think we should look at?
Well, I think Glenn should call the plays first off. That'd be my preference. Like, I talked about this with Connor Rogers. Like, all these head coaches have like a superpower that got them the job. what does Glenn do really well as a head coach right now? I'd like to see him call the defense like D'Amico Ryans does for the Texans. Like, that guy is a brilliant defensive strategist that they're able to win with Davis Mills as their quarterback these last couple of weeks, right? Like, that's what I would prefer, but I don't know. I'll start to think about it and get you some names as we talk more about this, but I would love to see a change with the defensive coordinator, though. I think Wilkes had a good career. It's time, man. You have one turnover through 10 weeks. That's unacceptable.
At least for the remaining games, I'd like to see Glenn's defense and then.
I mean, look what Campbell did, right? Campbell took over play calling on offense. Like, head coach, you're supposed to be a problem solver. The defense, outside of like an outlier game against Denver, and maybe they played well against Carolina, but like, they've been bad for most of the season. Oh, but Jake, they settled down in the second half. Not really. I mean, like, New England kind of like took their foot off the pedal there, and like, when they needed to get a big stop, they never have been able to do it this year. I guess Cincinnati, they finally did, the one outlier game, the one win. I need the defensive coaching staff to seriously be looked at this offseason, because I don't think Glenn's going anywhere. So if he's here, hopefully he recognizes what needs to be done on that side of the ball.
And so the last thing, Jake, to make it a little more positive, I just can't wait, man. This fan base has been so hungry for wins, man. We've been miserable. I've been miserable all my life since being a Jets fan. But, man, the day that we have that home playoff game and we start winning games, I just can't wait to see my people, man, in that stadium going crazy, snow coming down. Just be patient, fans. Be patient, brothers and sisters. We've
been patient, Brian. We've been patient. You can't tell a Jet fan to be patient. Look at the last 15 years.
I can't wait, bro. I can't wait to wear my Revis jersey there. We'll be there at MetLife, baby. Home playoff games.
Chef, I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. I couldn't tell you when. Bino says, can we get Brokeback 666 to dress as Santa for the Asman Holiday Festival celebration? Beast, your thoughts on this comment here?
There's only one Santa that we have here, and that I already chose. And you know who I'm deferring to? My therapist, the real Santa of all Santas, and basically the next James Hetfield.
That would be Big Fella for those who didn't follow that one. All right, more of your calls. We got some good ones on the line right now. This guy very rarely calls in, but he's always active in the chat. Yeti's next. What's up, Yeti?
Oh, hey, you got to me quick, man. How you doing?
I wanted to make sure you didn't go anywhere, Yeti. What do you got for us?
Oh, well, I just wanted to show real quick that I do have that Donkey Kong shirt at Beast. Can you see that?
Is that the same one? Hold on, let me zoom in.
That's the same one, right? Or it's close. Like we're almost the same guy. He doesn't like me. I don't really like him, but we're almost the same guy. It's weird.
Hold on. Let's bridge the gap then. Let's bring you two together right now.
Nice shirt. Where'd you get it from?
Same place you got yours. Target. $6.
Mine was 11 because they stick it up here. But unfortunately, I'm an old schooler myself. Do you have a modded Xbox with all the old games on there? Do you play that? I don't think so.
No, I don't know how to answer this as an adult. I'm an adult.
So, what do you do for a living, Sonny?
I'm a cable guy. I work for Cox Communications.
I see that. Well, I used to have cable. Unfortunately, I don't like cable anymore. TV don't turn me on like I used to. That's why I stick to the internet nowadays. But unfortunately, nice T-shirt. Keep up the good work with your retro gaming. And if you ever decide to get a modded Xbox, I will tell you which systems to go after because some of the best ones are out there. You got your NES, you got your SNES, you got all three of your Segas. If you want to add Game Gear, N64 or Atari, it's however or whatever you want. Whatever you want, it's your choice. Yep.
That's right. It's like BK. We can have it our way.
Well said. Great call by Yeti, as usual. Anthony Lozerato in the house, gifting 10 to the community. Hit it.
And Jet fans are clueless. I mean, they're dopes. They don't know anything. this is a really good hire. Gase is a great coach. Okay, Adam Gase is Kyle Shanahan before Kyle Shanahan. Gase is a great coach.
Ladies and gentlemen, 10 people just got memberships. Logic Bomb, Cigar Gangster, Ty Rap, NYC Beam, Hobbs, Joey B, DJ Hash Brown, Effin' Jets for Life, John Deportis, and Sir Luca, all receiving a channel membership.
J-O-B, job.
What a program we've had so far. It's about to get even better. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to say hello to a man who always has points to be made.
Get ready for Neil. He will make 13 points about the New York Jets and maybe hump a Patriots jersey. Get ready for Neil. He's probably smoking a big fat cigar and burning his house to the ground. That's Neil.
Good morning, Jake.
Hello, Neil.
Great shows over the weekend. I caught everything with you, and you're doing a fantastic job. I always say, everywhere I go, it's log on. Everybody that's a Jet fan, I gotta tell you, I'm very surprised how few people know about podcasts and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
It's still in its infancy compared to other media. It's growing though. YouTube's becoming bigger and bigger, especially.
People still go on the radio. I'm like, F the radio. I said, go on Jake Asman. You get on every day. You talk about the Jets. It's like I said, if you want to Google it, Jet fan morons. Where can I go to vent? And you'll see your show come up if you Google it. That's who we are. I had a shower Saturday and I watched some college football. I saw Mendoza. I mean, look.
You said you had a shower?
A baby shower I went to. We sat at the bar, the guys, and watched the college games. And I was with a guy who's like a retired bookie. And all this guy does, he knows he said in that South Carolina, what was that game that they came back?
Texas A&M, yeah.
He's like, watch this now. It was 30-3. He goes, here you go. Watch. It's going to be tied up in the fourth quarter. And there it was. I mean, this guy is really good. He knew his stuff. But, I asked him about the quarterbacks. He said, look, it's a crapshoot like we all say. He goes, these guys in college, I mean, you watch them. They're throwing the wide open guys. We don't know. But Mendoza looks pretty good. I mean, there's a couple guys. But what's ironic, what's crazy, Jake? When I was talking to you last week about Kyle Murray, I think they're watching your show and they see this old asshole on there with a cigar. Kyle Murray, talking about him going to the Jets. That came up after we said it. And then they swung it around to Mac Jones because that's my new favorite guy, Mac Jones. I think he's good. He's one that could be a good bridge, Jake, for us. What do you think?
You talking about Mac Jones?
Yeah, for next year. I think he'd be a good bridge.
I don't know. What do I have to give up? I'm also not convinced the Niners would trade him. Purdy's been hurt a lot in his young career, and Mac Jones is under contract for another year. So why am I getting him? Why would they give him up?
I get it. But you know who had a record yesterday for completions in the history?
Jacoby Brissett. He had 47 completions. Insane. And they got killed.
How old is Brissett now? You think how old? Let's get an age. He's like 36 at least, right?
Jacoby Brissett is 32.
He is?
He turns 33 in a couple weeks.
That wouldn't be a bad bridge either. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is competent.
I think he's under contract, though, for another year there. I got to check his contract.
I like him, too, because you know what? He's big.
He's under contract for one more year.
That means he's untouchable or what? What does that mean?
I just don't know if you're going to trade away a lot of assets for a bridge. That's not, your long-term answer. I'd be a little surprised. Gardner Minshew's a free agent. Of the potential options for a Fields replacement, Minshew and a rookie, I think is intriguing to me.
Winston, he is just firing balls all over the field. He's just too inconsistent.
He should have been intercepted a couple times yesterday, but he gave him a chance. He played how Jameis Winston usually plays, right? He's fearless. He'll make plays. And, they like, that's what you want your backup to be. Someone that if he had to give you a spot start, he'll give you a chance. And he did that for the Giants yesterday.
Right. But look, if I said to you, Brissett, Mac Jones, or Winston, you would take the other two over over Winston. I don't think he's just too. He made a lot of bad throws yesterday.
He's also under contract too, though, for another year with the Giants. So they were smart to sign into a 2-year deal, so they have their long-term backup for Dart for another year.
Mariota looks shot. He's not.
I didn't think he was bad yesterday, though. He played better than I thought he would. I don't want him, but he played better than I thought.
I remember when Craig Carton was on Boomer and Carton, and we were saying tank for Mariota or something like that. He was like the guy everybody wanted, right, out of the draft, and everybody.
It was him and Jameis, and then the Jets won that game in Tennessee in 2014,
right.
And that was the Mariota Bowl.
Who did we end up taking? Who did we do that year?
2014. Ooh, was that?
We didn't take a quarterback, did we?
No, the 2014 draft. Was that the Calvin Pryor year? Or was that that was 2014?
Let's go back to that.
New York Jets draft. I'm trying to remember. Let's see. Yeah, that was Calvin Pryor. That was the Calvin Pryor, Jason Morrow, first and second round pick draft. Another brilliant draft by.
Oh my God! Who was the GM for that debacle?
John Izek.
Oh, Jesus, God!
Yeah, terrible.
Oh my God! It's insane. I watched a lot of good football yesterday. Man, Patrick Mahomes looks. They really got his number a little bit. He didn't look great at all yesterday. What do you think? I don't think he looked.
I think Alan made a good point. Kansas City, and shocking, I just said that Kansas City should have traded that third rounder to get Breece Hall to complement that offense. Big mistake by them. They might not make the playoffs. I until yesterday, I was like, there's no way they'll figure it out. But they're 5-5. Houston all of a sudden is relevant again. The Ravens look like they're back in the mix. We'll see how long Rodgers is out, but Mike Tomlin seemingly can figure it out with anyone as he's now 6-4. Like, it's not a foregone conclusion. The Chiefs are definitely going to get one of the wild card spots because the division now, I don't think Denver is as good as their record, but Sean Payton's a Hall of Fame coach and they have an elite defense. They just find ways to win. They're 9-2, so the division's cooked for Kansas City now.
Let me tell you, look, we saw Sammy Boy Darnold with 4. What do you have? 5 picks yesterday?
He had 4.
When you pressure him, he turns into the old Sam Darnold. I mean, look, the name of the game.
He had a bad game. He's had a great year, though. I don't think this means he's just going to stink now.
I know, but Jake, when these guys get pressured, it's all the same. Only a few quarterbacks could react to the pressure, but once they get pressured, even Goff yesterday looked really pedestrian because he doesn't have that time to sit back there in the pocket and survey the field. We have a really good offensive line now, and it even looks better now that we saw what's his name had 4 sacks yesterday, and Fashanu looks even better. The fact that he only gave up 1 to him, and we controlled the Cleveland line pretty good, and they beat the crap. Yes, they were doing great yesterday, the defense on Cleveland. So I think our offensive line is set, and we just have to get the defensive line a little, get a nice free agent star in the middle, maybe another edge rusher. We're just weak at linebacker and safety, and we got some work to do. But if we could beef up that D line and get the trenches right, we are in a good position to develop a rookie quickly, or get one of these guys that are a good bridge that could play well with a good offensive line, and we'll be fine. We could turn it around. But that's all I got.
Neil, excellent call. Enjoy the Monday morning cigar.
These goddamn exploding cigars. I gotta go, Jake. I'll call back later. Shit.
Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. We have the raffle tomorrow for the weekly prizes. Mosley helmet, Tomlinson signed jersey, Darrelle Revis signed helmet, and coming up shortly, a jersey raffle. So if you want to enter, you can win a Keyshawn jersey, a Mangold jersey, a Revis jersey, a Corbett jersey, Curtis Martin jersey, Joe Klecko, and Broadway Joe Namath. By the way, that 2014 draft by the Jets, just looking at it because Neil brought it up. Oh my God. The only good player from the Isaac 12. The only good player from the John Isaac 12 was IK, or not IK, was Quincy Enunwa. I had IK on my mind because of him punching out Geno Smith. The Isaac 12 was 2014. The infamous Isaac 12. Look at these names. All these guys sucked. All of them sucked. Taj Boyd. Trevor Riley. Quincy was the only good player, and he unfortunately had a short-lived career because of a season or career-ending neck injury. Quincy's a good dude. We've had him on the YouTube show and radio shows I've done before. Still works for the team. He was the only player that made something of himself from the Isaac 12. By the way, since I brought up Taj Boyd, Chris Boyd is not related to him, but we sent out a post yesterday, obviously sending our well wishes to Chris Boyd and his family. He was the Jets corner that was critically wounded in the Manhattan shooting on Sunday. It was early Sunday morning, leaving like a hot spot bar restaurant. The NYPD a couple hours ago released photos of the suspect in the shooting of Chris Boyd. He apparently was there with two other Jets players as well. So hopefully, one, they get the guy, the suspect, and two, hopefully Chris Boyd's okay. I think the latest report was he was shot in the abdomen and he's in stable condition. So there's your update on that situation from over the weekend. Just terrible. Chris Boyd, we never got to see him play because he had a season-ending shoulder surgery he suffered in training camp in August. So there's that. Hopefully he recovers. All right, a couple calls left. Last chance to get in on the raffle. I'm actually going to gift a membership right now because we only have 16 today, and 10 of them are from Anthony Logerato. So I'm going to gift one right now. If you want to get it quickly, like the video, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Give yourself a chance to get a gifted membership. Ladies and gentlemen, one membership is being gifted from yours truly right freaking now. Hit it.
Who wanna fly with them?
Rob Basil, you handsome devil. You're in the raffle for one, Rob. Thank you for watching the show today. Let's get back to your calls. Let's say hello to Jordan, who's next. Hello, Jordan.
What's up, Jake? Prayers to Chris Boyd and his family right now. Such a sad thing. But some key points that I wanted to bring up today, I wrote a couple of them down so I wouldn't forget. And I love your interviews, by the way, with Joe and Connor and Wayne Corbett the other day. Those were great.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So I think that the Jets could have had their first interception of the season, because remember on the one play Drake May took to Ryan Williams, Stiggers was right there. He was about to pick it, but then Tony Adams broke it up because he sucks.
Yep. I mean, literally, he literally knocked, and then Tony Adams got up and then celebrated like he did something positive there.
Like something good. Like, bro, we could have had a pick and probably returned it for decent yardage too. And then I also think that Steve Wilk needs to be fired because it's just the defense is so terrible and guys just don't know what they're doing still. Like Brandon Stevens is not a number one corner. He's just not. He could be a good number two, but you need another, it sucks that we traded Sauce, but like I like that we got the picks for him. But he's just not a number one corner. And like we could all see that. And the linebackers are terrible. Quincy had a decent game though. I liked his energy out there.
I just don't think he's on the team next year though. So
I don't think so.
Kind of hollow.
I think so too, bro. But I mean, I would love to keep Quincy for another year though, because he's the best linebacker we have, and we need to build off of that. I don't think we should be trying to get rid of him.
Well, I think they're going to. I think they're going to.
Target Anzalone and all them.
Yeah, well, and also like to me, Anzalone would make a ton of sense because,
would.
Glenn needs his guys. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a guy that's
does.
still playing at a high level. He's a veteran leader. He'll call the defense. Watching him last night, dude, he's covering Saquon Barkley out of the backfield and holding up. And by the way, can I say this too, watching Sunday night last night? How the Eagles use Saquon, I hope Tanner Engstrand's watching that. Saquon legitimately, in so many different plays last night, is lined up, not in the slot. He's on the outside. Brees could do the same thing. You need a playmaker. Like, Brees Hall, by the way, I saw this stat over the weekend because here's, once again, more criticism for Glenn and Engstrand. Brees Hall is actually averaging less targets this year than any year of his career, and we killed Hackett for not targeting Brees enough. They're doing it even less this year after Glenn said to reporters and said to Brees on record in a video the Jets posted themselves how often they were going to get him involved in their passing concepts. One real quick, I'll get back to Jordan in a second. Like, I'm watching Saquon last night. I'm like, yeah, that's how they need to utilize Brees. And this was Glenn in August saying this is what they're going to do with Brees.
That's where we're going to open your game up this whole year. You know what I'm saying? Not just running the ball, but being able to do something like that. You dig what I'm saying? That's where your game going to open up, bro. Because it's a mismatch. Take you on anybody out there, any safety or linebacker. There we go. All good.
They never did it, and they still haven't done it. And then Glenn said on Friday, yeah, you're right. Fair criticism. We need to do a better job of that. Coach, it's week 10, week 11. We could be week 12 next week. It's very frustrating. Anyway, Jordan, continue.
I totally agree with your point, though, Jake, with the Brees Hall thing. He needs to be used more. At least give the defense that look to give him a threat that he's out there, you know. But it just even this last week, how long have we been saying for Justin Fields to run the ball on read options? And it took him to week 11 or 10 to be able to start using Justin Fields running more. And the last thing I just want to say is that the whole, you guys were talking about the veteran QB thing about Minshew and Jameis Winston and all that. Mm-hmm. I think Minshew would be a decent option for this team. Like, he's not the greatest, but he took that Colts team almost to the playoffs and had them at 9-7, you know. And if the Jets can have a solid draft and have a decent bridge quarterback to just, if they do draft a guy, and I think we should only trade up for a quarterback if we're in the top 5. If we're out the top 5, I don't think we should trade up for a quarterback. But if we can have that,
depends on the cost. I'll continue to say it. Depends on cost. And how do we know that some of these guys don't slide? Shedeur Sanders slid last year. No one saw that coming.
Yeah, I do think some of them might slide, but there are going to be other decent backups in the second, third round that I think the Jets can look at too. You know, it's not just, those are just the 2 top guys that everybody are talking about.
Also, the other thing too, Jordan, like everyone's talking about like, oh, you know, the Jets won't be in position to get any of these guys, but they should wait till 2027. It's a better class. How do we know other teams in front of the Jets won't also wait till 2027? They have a different evaluation on these quarterbacks, and the Jets have a high, like when people just act like there's no way for the Jets to get one of these quarterbacks, I'm not listening to that on November 17th. There's multiple avenues to still do it.
Right. I don't want to wait to 2027. I think they should have drafted a quarterback this last draft. You know, like, what if we had drafted Jalen Milroe this last season, you know, and like had him right now on the team? Like, I would rather play him than Justin Fields. You know, that was just the first name that popped off my head. But, you know, it's just, if they had another guy that they drafted and felt better about more than Brady Cook, then they would probably be playing right now. But Justin Fields is they think he's the best option. That's the best way to put it, because Aaron Glenn doesn't want to change it.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like for the sake of your team and proper evaluation, you go to Tyrod. I don't think Tyrod Taylor's anything special. I think he's better than Justin Fields at this point, though.
I think so, too. But that's all I had to say today. I appreciate you having me on again.
Anytime, Jordan. Great call as usual. All right, last chance here if you want in on the conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, our next caller is a fan favorite, and I'm also excited to share with our next caller. Hold on, Jordan. Sorry, I had to switch slides and StreamYard's acting up. I'm also excited to share that our next caller's raffle prize, a Jet 3D logo, has been delivered. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
Well, I'm very excited. I'm going to have to get up and look.
It's there, baby. It is there. I got the email notification that it's been delivered.
Excellent. Thank you, Jake. So if Brees was promised all this stuff, why would he ever come back here?
Money, cash.
You think?
That's it. I mean, you pay him the most money. He's a running back who has a shelf life.
Do you do what you do for strictly for money?
I mean, it's part of it. I don't think I would do it as much if I didn't love also doing it. I would, I'd get I've turned down multiple full-time radio jobs the last couple of years to continue full-time on YouTube.
But you also think that at this point that the model is viable and
yeah.
So I don't know. I think some of these guys love football, and I think that at the end of the day, with 32 teams, he's going to be able to find a place where the money is comparable.
Well, they can't just lose him for nothing, though. That's why you have both the transition tag and the franchise tag as a potential fallback. That's
why what I'm ultimately getting to is that fourth round pick looms large, man. Like, if you're going to wait till he gets to the offseason, then him thinking about what he was told and how he was used and how he feels like, maybe the last 4 years of his career haven't gone the way he wanted it to, is kind of going to creep in. I don't know. I think I'm a little bit more pessimistic than you as far as the return of Brees. And
people say I'm too negative. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt that if they had no plans of signing him, that they would have taken the fourth round pick. Because if I will hammer Muji and Glenn for that decision if Brees is on the team next year. Because I said I'm going to give you guys the benefit of the doubt that if you're not trading Brees for the fourth that was there, it's because you have plans to keep him. If they don't keep him, then they deserve all the criticism coming their way. Because for those saying, they'll get a comp pick, they won't. They're going to spend a ton of money. At best, I saw today, you'd be looking at maybe a sixth rounder in 2027 for Brees in the comp formula. So, no, their plan is to not get a comp pick. That's not going to happen.
Right. That's why I would have hoped that the re-signing would have happened prior, right? Like, I don't know. It's a little frustrating. I'm tired of the uncertainty. I would like to know what we have in the fold when we have to go build out this team this offseason. Because I feel like the offensive line is pretty good. I think we need to get some skilled players on the outside and obviously a quarterback, and then we'll be in business. That's basically all I had. When you said that about and you showed that clip of Brees, it kind of set me off a little bit. Because if I'm
once again, it's another example of Glenn promising things that have not come true this year at all. And people could say, what? Yeah, he said that at a press conference. What's he supposed to say with the win now line? Or I didn't tell you when Jet fans were going to be proud. But this is conversations to one of his best players, and they have been woefully bad at doing exactly what they said they were going to do with Brees Hall's usage. It highlights another example of my concerns with the staff in general.
Yeah, if it were you or me or anyone else who's on this stream, they'd be pissed if their boss treated them that way as an employee. Yep. I appreciate your time, Jake.
Great call, Kyle. Enjoy your 3D Jets wall art that you won. All right. We got time for one more call here. Shout out to Rob. He got his membership and thanked me. Last chance to enter our raffle. We're counting the names shortly. Right now, we say hello to Mike, who's next. Hello, Mike.
Hey, what's up, Jake? How are you doing, buddy?
Hey, Mike. What's going on?
Hey, I know you saw the post I tagged, and it's probably going to infuriate you, but the Denver Broncos are everything of what the 2024 Jets should have been. Elite defense, 9-2. They're 6-2. They're 6-2 right now with one possession games. By 4 or less points, they're 7-2 by 8 or less points, which is kind of ironic. Number two players I want you to keep your eyes on, and I'd like to pick your brain with down the line, is Chris Brazzell. That's the one that I was referencing, and his quarterback, Joey Aguilar. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Aguilar, and I think he's going to be a good day 2, day 3 candidate for QB. I think he's really going to be a good player.
Haven't watched him enough to give you a strong opinion yet, Mike, but I will definitely, once we get closer to draft season, I will definitely start doing my homework as always.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to pop up and let you get going at the same time. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but check out Joey Aguilar. I think the kid's really special. He can move the line. He's reading defenses relatively quick. He's audibling. He's able to shift protections. Like, he's everything you want in a quarterback. The only downside is Tennessee 7-3 because they took 2 bad beats. They got beat by Georgia in overtime, if you remember, in week 2, 41-43. I think it was 41-43. And the Alabama game they lost, all of which I would say came down to coaching errors. But I really think Joey Aguilar is somebody I want you to do your homework on, because I think that kid's going to be something special at quarterback.
Yeah, look, I don't know enough about him, Mike, to once again give you a strong opinion, but I'll definitely look into it. As far as the receiver you mentioned, once again, I think the best path, if you're predicting what the Jets are going to do with their 2 first-rounders, one of them goes to the quarterback, the other goes to a wide receiver. But the receiver thing, you definitely could argue they don't do it in the first round if they make a trade for someone this offseason, if they sign someone. Or, I think best scenario, A.D. Mitchell plays the role of wide receiver too, and you feel good about that. He's got to learn how to catch, but he is getting open. Beastbreaker writes in, I'm injured. Upper back and pain in the shoulder blades. Well, before we get to the raffle, let's do a medical update with the Beast. Everything okay, Beast?
Upper back, shoulder blades are doing the you're gonna feel this one day, Jake. You're gonna feel pain in the back, and I'm gonna tell you how painful it feels. It's like getting slammed by Andre the Giant. Did you ever see Andre the Giant when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Try being lifted 7 feet in the air and thrown down like a sack of potatoes. That's how it feels right now. And I'll tell you, the pain sucks, but when you get older, you just gotta live with it.
Hey, chat, give Beastbreaker some suggestions how to fix his ailment.
Hey, if you want to fix your ailment, go get some screwdrivers. And also, if you don't have something like that, get some wrenches. But now, let's get to the main event. I'm going to say it one time. Now it's time to spin the wheel of champions.
Hey, Beast, I'm getting another call. Can you host the show for a moment?
All right, well, time out. All right, now, while we get all that under control, we're going to do something so different next year that's going to blow people's minds away. 2 ice baths will be put in. We need new heavy cavalry. We need new combat. And we're going to go get some new fresh arms and new fresh legs. You know why? Money equals good talent. Good talent also equals big money. See, you got to remember this, too. You ain't got the checks or the checkbook, then you ain't got nothing. You got straight shit on a stick. See, you got to learn something. If you don't know how to spend that checkbook, you ain't got shit on this team. You
Well
gotta
said,
learn
Beast.
it.
I'm back, by the way. You can throw it to the raffle now. We're all good.
All right, now let's go to the wheel of champions.
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Oh, yeah. It's time, everyone. It is time. Ladies and gentlemen, Beastbreaker, an excellent job there. A couple super chats I want to acknowledge. Spencer, I did get you in. Don't worry. You're in for 2. Brian, I also did get you in. You wrote, thanks for taking my call. I'll never jump ship. I'll die with my Jets. All I can do is hope that we get into the dance at some point and make something happen. Jets for life. Hey, we're all Jet fans for life, unless you're Charles Gorman. It's the life we chose. Ladies and gentlemen, good luck. Only one can win. If you win, you got to email me your name, your address, the jersey you want from the Jet legend, and the size you want in it. Right now, we spin the wheel to determine who wins a Jets Legends jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner is Anthony Logerato, one of the longest most active listeners on the show. Hit it.
I'm gonna do my silly dance, cause yeah, feels like shit. We'll have a quarterback playing. Rich has all the answers. So you should ask Dick Cheney. Our team is lurking.
Congrats to Anthony for being today's raffle winner. We'll be back in the afternoon. Looking forward to the show. Jeremy Jets Chaos, so I'll be hobnobbing with at the O'Leary wedding this Saturday, is the scheduled guest, so check back in then. It'll be a lot of fun. Who knows what we'll be discussing? Some Jets players are going to speak today, so we will hear from them. Glenn will speak Wednesday. Another week of content ahead. Thank you to everyone who tunes in to this wild program. We couldn't do it without you. I leave you all with a short clip to play you out. Sit back and enjoy the Briga vs. Gary experience. Go Jets.
You said people walked on the moon, correct?
Yes.
Prove your claim.
It's not my claim, it's history's claim. You're an ignorant person. I was there. I know it went up.
You were on the moon?
You just don't believe it.
Give me the evidence that people walked on the moon.
You don't make any sense.
All I've asked you for is evidence.
You don't believe in achievement.
This is irrational. You're acting like an irate 5-year-old.
Listen to me, big mouth.
Dave Briga, walk like a man. It's not my claim. It's not my burden.
You said you went to college. They teach you nothing?
Shut up.
Don't tell me to shut up.
This is ridiculous.
You're ridiculous.
You can't have a rational conversation. You can't shut your mouth.
What's
for 5
rational?
seconds.
You're just a denier.
How does me knowing the name of the 3 people who died on the Apollo prove that people walked on the moon?
That itself doesn't prove it, no.
Prove your claim that people walked on the moon.
Men don't die for no reason at all.
How does men don't die for no reason prove that people walked on the moon? Your evidence is that you were alive when someone claimed to have walked on the moon.
I was living then, yes.
What does that prove?
I believe in achievement. I believe in a space program.
You believe in achievement. Therefore, people walked on the moon. That's your argument?
I believe people didn't lie to us like you.
I believe in achievement. Therefore, people walked on the moon?
Go read the history. Go look at films. I have books.
Then this should be easy for you. Prove that people walked on the moon. You've done all the research. This should be easy. It's not my burden.
Buzz Aldrin, in his mind, had to calculate the exact landing. You believe it was a cover-up?
I don't believe the claim that people walked on the moon. That's it.
I have to prove history, but you don't have to prove anything. Go take some more headshots. You need some.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.